Melbourne. It's been a miserable morning, a lot of rain. It's not too hot, I can tell you. We should have a terrific contest. It was 100 years ago that these two teams, states, played one another at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and 20 years ago that they first played State of Origin football. Hello and welcome to a damp Melbourne Cricket Ground. There won't be a big crowd. It should be a great contest. The last contest in the 20th century between the two. Robert Walls, well, he asked all the coaches that were available to come into the rooms today and to bring some tradition into this Victorian team. There are 10 players playing their first match for Victoria. It is still a star-studded lineup, and they're going to be mighty hard to beat. And they are some of the great names right there at Lee Matthews with Gary Lyon.
Plenty of movement in that forward line. Open it up, give ourselves space. Two blokes back in the top square. The others up outside 50. Ball goes inside 50. We've got runners onto it. Don't over-possess it, these conditions, particularly the first 15 minutes. First 15 minutes, we get it going our way.
Well, Mick McGuan's start for Victoria in 4 matches in the early 90s. It's a big day for a player.
Oh, it certainly is, Bruce. This is what it's all about, to get to this level and actually rub shoulders with the best in the competition against another opposition team who are comprising of their best team representing their states.
Let's have a look at the Victoria lineup. We start with Brisbane.
Yeah, terrific to see Lepich and also Lappin get roles for Victoria. Of course, Carlton, 7 representatives for both states today. Silvani, Kutafidis, Ratton and Allen there. Essendon, Matthew Lloyd, the sole representative in the Victorian team. Peter Riccardi and also Gary Hocking. Great to see Hocking captaining the Victorian team today. Leckus and Crow, 2 young players playing their first 8 games. Well done. David King and Harvey, both ends of the ground. Harvey is a roving, crumbing player. King will provide run out of defence. Schwartz, probably a bullocking role off the interchange bench. Lee and Chally, well done. First 8 game. Campbell, terrific to see him play, the evergreen Richmond player. Thompson, Everett and Burke. Nathan Burke, what a terrific Victorian representative he's been over the years. Chris Grant, Rowan Smith, Scott West and Brad Johnson, 4 terrific players from the Western Bulldogs. They'll be very important today. And, of course, Chad Morrison from the West Coast Eagles, also well done to him.
So, Mick, an even spread as you'd expect. The Crows have got 7 players today.
Yeah, certainly have. Hart, James, Rashudo, Robran, Smart, Pittman and Edwards. Terrific players for their respective club. McRae and Clark. Clark will be very important today. Centre square, as we know, is always important. Bradley, Camporelli and McKay. Craig Bradley, what an evergreen champion he is. Certainly will play well today. Wellman may get the job on Chris Grant across centre-half back. He's picked at full-back. Nick Holland may be used off the interchange bench. May start centre-half forward. Certainly may get back to some form. Byron Pickett, these conditions will certainly suit him. Todd Viney in the centre, the vice-captain. He'll certainly be the robust type player from Port Adelaide. Darren Mead, Treadray, Peter Burgle and also Josh Franco. Certainly 4 important players from Port Adelaide's point of view. And also Nick Daffy and Matty Rogers from the Richmond club representing their state. Wakeland probably will play full-back on Matthew Lloyd for Victoria. And Luke Darcy may start in the ruck for the South Australian team.
Some great names there. It should be a terrific contest. Low-scoring match maybe. We'll be back with the national anthem right after this. Big welcome to you, Sandy.
Thank you, Bruce. Great to be here, and I think the rain is going to be somewhat of a leveller this afternoon.
And John Russo, who umpired in 4 State of Origin matches. A big time for the umpires as well, John.
Oh, it is, Bruce, and as Sandy said, the rain is certainly going to be a leveller, but State of Origin footy is fantastic to be a part of, so I just hope it continues for many years to come.
Well, both the teams are lining up for the traditional national anthem, and let's go down and join the Master of Ceremonies, Craig Willis.
Ladies and gentlemen, Victoria have a long and proud history in State of Origin football. Joining the teams and the umpires for today's national anthem, we welcome many former captains and coaches involved in State of Origin matches between these 2 rival states. Now please be upstanding for the playing of the national anthem.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We're golden soil and wealth of child.
no matter the occasion, it stirs the heart, doesn't it? It really does. It gets the hair standing up on the back of your neck. And there is a lot of noise here today. It's not a huge crowd. You wouldn't expect it on this day. It's been miserable in Melbourne. We have a number of observers around the ground today. Paul Couchy was a star for Victoria so many times. Couchy, welcome.
Thanks, Bruce. I'm really going to enjoy the game here. It's the highest only a player can achieve. There's no international football, of course, so it's going to be a great day.
Terry Wheeler's also at the 50-metre arc. Terry, the former Bulldogs coach. We'll go from you to the toss in a moment, Terry. Here we go. This is Michael Page from South Australia. And Bradley's kicking to the right of screen. Terry, back to you. Sorry to interrupt, mate.
Thank you, Bruce. It's a good view of the old home territory here, the back pocket. So I'm really going to look forward to the tight defensive skills, Bruce, that we can expect here this afternoon. And going to the left half forward flank to the main scoreboard end, Richard Osborne, who's also starred many times for Victoria. Richard. Ozzy, I can't hear you, but we can see you all right. Well, Peter McKenna, congratulations, Peter. Inducted in the Australian Football Hall of Fame last night. Well deserved, Peter. You have been one of the greats of all time.
Thank you very much, Bruce. I appreciate that very much. And I'm at the 50-metre line, mate, and it looks a long, long way to the goals. I'm sure I did never kick them that far.
And Pete, our congratulations to you as well, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. There's still no doubt about you. You have found the one dry spot in this ground. Well done.
It's an umpire's box, Sandy. I don't know. There's no one in here. I can't believe my luck. It's beautiful.
Pete played 7 times for Victoria and kicked 42 goals, including 10 against Tasmania one day. Averaged 6 every time he played. Bradley equals Platin's record today. 15 State of Origin Guernseys. Great article from Mike Sheehan in today's Herald Sun on one of the great players of the game. Scott McLaren with the ball. Brett Allen and John Harvey will be the umpires. Victoria go to the left. They've got a tall set-up. Certainly on paper, they've got Grant and Everett early. We do have a microphone in the South Australian coaching box. We'll be hearing from Graham Corns throughout the match. Dipper's on the boundary line, who's been a big part of the Victorian build-up. Played for the Big V on 6 occasions. We'll be going down to Dipper. The start of the State of Origin match at the MCG on a wet May day. Maybe the last time these two teams play one another. Certainly the last time they'll play in this century. It was 100 years ago they played their first match here at the MCG.
Already there's some interesting matchups in the forward part of the ground for South Australia. Koutafidis is picking up Holland, Lepic is picking up Treadray, and Silvani's picking up Robin at full forward.
Brad Johnson got the first kick. Ben Hart found it hard to get hold of it. Down the corner, King getting it from Campbell to centre wing, pick it in hard. Smart away. Smart floats it to centre half forward. Gee, well done in the front by Edwards, who made a contest after being caught under the ball. Gave a slick handball away. Maybe it's not the day for that. King out wide. Matthew Allen has got a bit of space at centre wing. You want it to sit or stop. It stops for him. Smother was good. Coming from Clark. Still at centre wing. Off the ground by King. Getting it forward. A contest at half forward. Smart second possession. Little kick around the corner. Not bad. They were looking for a free kick to Big V. Oh, Viney was hard. He couldn't break the tackle there. It was a good effort there by the Vicks to hold him up. And it's a free kick coming to Victoria. No. Is it?
Yes, paid for holding the man, Bruce. The umpire actually put his hand up the wrong way initially, but he corrected it as soon as he realised.
Yeah, certainly it was Lappin's free kick, wasn't it, John? Yeah. He was a player who got dispossessed in the tackle. The ball was still at ground level and he was held in the tackle.
Lappin going in towards half forward. Hart, the flyer, been a grand defender for Adelaide for a long time, and he finds Bradley on the outer side. Incredible to think this man started playing state football some 18 years ago. Kicks down towards Robin, couldn't take it cleanly. Koutafidis on half-back is claimed, pushed towards the line, and we've got a throw-in on the outer side in South Australia's attacking zone as Tyson Edwards, playing in his first State of Origin game, picks himself up. We talk about Victoria having 10 new faces. South Australia has just 3. Edwards, McRae and Peter Burgoyne. Good luck to them. Allen trying to swipe it from behind. Koutafidis comes in over the top. No one able to get it out cleanly. Camporelli had it just for a moment for South Australia. Here's Burke. Nice little hand pass. Unable to take it was Campbell. He's got plenty of support, though. They run it out beautifully. This is Rowan Smith. Turns 26 on Monday. Kicks it up over the centre. Looks towards his club teammate in Chris Grant. Grant's ripped off the football, doesn't appear to have it, and umpire Scott McLaren comes in and says, you've got the free kick just forward of centre.
As you said, Sandy, no doubt about it, hasn't got the footy, dragged off it. Chris Grant not in possession, rewarded for holding the man.
Short, that's a good kick and some loose checking. Peter Riccardi's drifted down to the 50, and he'll go onto this left foot. 52 metres out, the first score coming up, is it? Goes in towards full forward. No mark taken. Lloyd was down there. He's got supporters. It's bending back, but over the line.
Yeah, good play there by Wakeland. He knew that Lappin was going to kick the ball across his body. Just got the smother across the right line of the leg of Lappin. That's great percentage play by Wakeland.
Everett front spot, Clark against him, won the tap. Hocking did very well, the captain to fall forward. Belted away at the back by Wakeland. Good defensive play again. Pittman in there, and Wayne Campbell boundary throw in. You'd reckon it's going to be low scoring. It's going to be a slog. It should be close. The weather in Melbourne today, currently 12. It's doubtful it's going to crawl to 15. I think that's a long shot. It has been raining from very early. Pickett on the up. Rashudo belts it, and actually quite effective. This ball could skid along a bit. It rolls to centre half forward. Smith, that was clever. I reckon he spotted King and also Johnson, and Johnson's away. Bradley, Johnson back to King. King now with a bit of space. Belts it to centre half forward. Floating kick, Grant, good mark. So Chris Grant having an impact early.
Yeah, just playing front position, Bruce, in these conditions, that's the ideal spot to be.
To Buddha, Hocking's kick to Ratton at about 55 metres. So the Vicks attacking here. Lloyd's in the goal square. Couple matching up against him, including Darryl Wakeland. Clark getting back. Ratton kicks to Lloyd. Front spot. Couldn't quite.
Ooh.
Coming through Chris Grant. Pittman's got to get into the contest. Oh, now that's interesting. He wanted, I think, to kick it. It's going to be a free kick.
Paid it.
Deliberate.
We saw one a little earlier, Bruce. They are difficult to pay because many could say that he was actually trying to kick it behind. He's kicked the ball. It hasn't missed the point post by far. So had it gone the other side of the post, then certainly no free kick. So many say that is unfair because he could well have been trying to kick the ball through for a behind defensively.
I think the umpire, look at the angle. I think the umpire go and ask him, John. Here's Chris Grant. He's missed the goals, that's for sure. Has he snuck it in? He has. It's a behind.
And sorry, Bruce, I suppose we should recap. The umpire has to be convinced that the only intention was to put the ball out of bounds, and because it's so close to the behind post, that introduces an element of doubt.
Hart will bring it back in for South Australia. Thought about Wakeland short, but now elects to go straight down the middle, and that's sensible play down towards his big guns. He's got Bradley waiting at the back. Players streaming through. One was Viney. Finds him now going down towards the 50. It's got to sit. They're in trouble, but they do have the numbers. Treadray from a standing start is a little wide and is out of bounds.
Graham Corns, we've got him mic'd up. Here he is.
Rashudo's giving that a kick.
We don't need Robin and Treadray in the goal square to stand back, do we?
Holland comes up.
When Holland pushed right up the half back to cover the ruckman, we don't need two back in the goal square today.
When Nick Holland pushes forward, tell Matty Robin to push out the centre half forward. They don't need them both in the goal square.
Kernahan, Curley and Corns all at it in the South Australian coach's box. In the meantime, as we listen to them, we've got a free kick, and it's going the way of Victoria. It's to be taken by West, who gets it out to Ratton, who heads to the outer side. Victoria has the numbers. One of them is Thompson, who's having a grand year for St Kilda. Dipper, you've got the Victorian bench.
I certainly have, boys. Chad Morrison, Harvey, Crowe, Swartzley and Chally and Leckers.
Good afternoon, by the way, Dipper.
Good afternoon, lads. Very wet conditions, as you
Good on you,
see.
Dipper. Yeah, well, we're going to have to put up with that rain for the rest of the afternoon, but could be a tight old slog. Here's a snap from the pocket by Josh Franco. He's a class player, is Franco, and he's kicked it.
Terrific goal by Franco. Lights have been turned on here at the MCG, and South Australia by 5 points. In the centre, Franco again. Matthew Allen did very well, actually, to kick it on the side of his left foot, but Pickett was able to mark it. Byron Pickett, what an impact he's had in a couple of seasons of AFL footy. To half forward, front spot, Camporelli couldn't quite. Vicks go forward, Ratton, clever little kick, pushing forward. Now Hocking will take it, and we'll have a bit of time here. He's got Lloyd on his own. He goes further to Everett. Front spot, at the back, Pittman, Lloyd's in the pocket. Wakeland's been good early. Boundary throw-in.
To keep you up to date with the South Australian bench, boys, McRae, Sean Wellman, Tyson, Pittman, Burgoyne and also Mead.
What was the feeling like in the Vic room, Dipper? I know you've been a big part of it.
Fantastic, Bruce. Just fantastic. If you could just be my skin now, I'm so excited.
Everett almost copped one from his teammate. South Australia should get out of trouble. Back towards Craig Bradley. Intercepted, however, and kept in play beautifully by Scotty West. Now he loses, needs support. Back to West. Ratton is there to help him as well. Ratton goes to ground. Could have almost been taken high by Nigel Smart. Comes wide to Bradley. Bradley gets the hand pass away. It's Franco again towards centre wing. Holland is there for South Australia. He couldn't take it. Neither could Daffy. Going to be interesting to see how he goes in these conditions today. Nick Daffy, he's been in very good form. The Thompson hand pass is okay for Victoria. Up towards the 50. Big pack of players there, and it's just pushed defensively over the line for another throw-in.
Here's Graham Corns again.
So it's Lappin. As soon as they advance the ball, Lappin's going onto the ball, and Hockey's just going to push forward.
See, Braddle's got to keep with him until he... Braddle's got to keep with Lappin, sorry, with Hockey until he changes.
Changes, yep.
Sticks Kernahan certainly having plenty to say in the South Australian coach's box as well. Socket off the ground, back towards half-back. Well done by Chris Grant. Had it for a moment and then lost it. Then kicked by Campbell. Down towards full forward. Lloyd has a look at the umpire, but it's going the other way.
Free kick for holding, Sandy. So Matthew Lloyd, in his endeavour to get that mark, has been hanging on to the jumper, and that's what the umpire has penalised him for.
No question of that, as Wakeland on the last line of defence. Goes short to Hart. He's at full-back. He can find Nigel Smart at half-back. Nigel normally loves a run. Now let's fly with a big flat-looking punt that goes almost down to half-forward towards Robin, who certainly won't be appreciating these conditions. Here's Craig McRae. Goalwards goes McRae. Big start by South Australia.
Well, two spectacular left-foot goals to South Australia. A real bonus in these conditions. Franco and then McRae. Franco's been excellent early. Clark to half-forward. Silvani pushing forward to Campbell. Silvani pushed off it as he got the kick away. Smart boundary throw-in.
South Australia made a change. Rodram off and Brett James on for a smaller forward line, and Lecker's now picking up James and Silvani off.
So maybe it's going to be the little fella's day. Clark over the top. Little toe poke came from Camporelli. Hocking's hands were quick. Campbell boundary throw-in. Both teams have settled about the same, you'd reckon, but South Australia's had the bonus of the two freak goals.
There's no doubt about that, Bruce. At this stage, it's been the Victorian team in terms of possession of winning more of the ball, but in terms of their direct approach at goal, South Australia have certainly adjusted better in these conditions.
West, again, a boundary throw-in. It's not going to be pretty, is it? But it should be close. The runner's out talking to Bradley. As Silvani, what a great stalwart has been. This is his 11th match for Victoria. Little one by Campbell. Johnson to Hocking, who's had plenty of it early. Probing kick to centre half forward. Lloyd's, oh no, couldn't quite. Hart robbed him in the end. They're going to be hard to take. Chest or above, head high all day. Hart's kick's not bad. Clark front spot. Still with Clark towards the line. It just came off Campbell's boot. Boundary throw-in. He was almost in danger. Now here's the Lloyd one, Mickey.
Yeah, terrific attempt there, but just got his body a little bit lower than what the flight of the ball was. Hit him on the shoulder, the ball bounced out.
Tell you what, Ben Hart, Mick's played a pretty good start as well for South Australia. As David King makes a few more metres for Victoria for pushing it over the line. Almost down to left half forward. Those two early goals, like diamonds, Franco and McRae doing it for South Australia. Clark locks himself up with Allen.
Yeah, Clark definitely grabbed Matthew Allen's jumper then, Sandy, so penalised.
Allen puts them in towards 50, in towards Lloyd, but he elects not to fly this time, and that's a good mark taken by Allen, taken by the South Australian defender in Wakeland. Comes to the outer side. Pickett, watch out for him. Bruce said he'd made an impact in recent times. That's an understatement, particularly on one occasion. Down towards Viney. Couldn't take it cleanly. Loses it now. An opportunity for King again. Gets a hurried kick back towards the centre. Almost bounces away from West, but he's got time to recover. Steady. Go on to the left foot. Kick down towards half forward. His target there was Riccardi. He too is a left footer. Swings it back in towards half forward. That's a good looking kick. And he finds Rowan Smith. Smith to full forward. He's dropped back in towards the square. Can go all the way. No, he plucks the one-handed as Lappin.
That is one hell of a class mark. There's no doubt about that. Lappin's had a terrific year for the Brisbane Lions. Of course, been a multiple goal kicker on a number of occasions, but just great body use to keep Hart off the line of the contest and take the one-handed mark.
Nigel Lappin puts the first one through for Victoria.
5-point margin, Lappin getting the goal for the Big V. Clark against Everett. There's been a few changes. McKay's come on and so's Brent Harvey. Everett out of the centre, bangs to half forward. Grant, Lappin and Hart. Lappin and Hart's going to be a very interesting duel. Was it deliberate against Hart? No, boundary throw in. Two form players.
Both Allen and Pittman have come off for their sides, and that's why I've got Everett in the middle now.
Yeah, good point, Tipper. Everett's gone into the ruck. They've isolated Nigel Lappin and Ben Hart in the goal square. Lloyd's gone up the ground, more or less playing as a second half forward with Chris Grant. And they've gone with a mobile type half-forward flankers in Campbell, Hocking, and also Harvey.
Hocking's little handball, Riccardi, and I think it's just gone through. 4 are behind. Terry Wheeler, that's not far from you at the moment. What do you think of the action so far?
Well, it's really started well. The South Australian defence is playing very well, Bruce. I like Darryl Wakeland. He's maintained that tactic of playing some 5 or 6 metres in front of Matthew Lloyd, and he's denied Lloyd access to the ball at the moment. His job's been very crucial here.
Viney's kick to centre wing, front spot, mark taken, and a strong mark there by Wakeland. He's been good. Down the line towards McKay. It wasn't a particularly good kick. Came off west to King. King at centre wing. Belts it back to centre half forward. Pickett underneath takes the mark. Paul Couch, you've got a very good view of Byron Pickett from where you are at the moment.
Yeah, he's playing very well, Bruce, but they've made a change, Victoria, with taking Everett up the ball, and they were just too tall, and they brought Lappin in the full forward line, as you called it, Mick.
Here's McKay on centre wing, sending South Australia into half forward for the first time. Koutafidis had front spot. At the back was Holland.
Sandy, Peter McKenna here, that looked very much like a mark. That's right in front of me to Holland, not paid.
It's actually come off the hands of Koutafidis at the front, and that's the umpire was calling play on as soon as it popped up in the air, Macca.
We were looking at it as you spoke, Pete, from where you were, it would have looked very good indeed. Socket off the ground by Camporelli, down towards the forward line, and Daffy. Oh! That's gone through for a goal to McRae. There's another one. Sensible wet weather play by Craig McRae into the South Australian coach's box again.
Get in there again, Daffy, and again, kick it off.
Oh,
he scored it.
It's a goal. McRae's second.
That's what you've got to do.
That's exactly what you've got to do. The boys in the coach's box are delighted with that sensible play from Craig McRae. As Gary Hocking picks himself up out of the mud in the middle of the MCG. No one getting that out at all. And they'll do it again. 10 points the margin. Brett Ratton at the bottom of the pack for the Vicks.
And Sandy, it's interesting watching this bounce down here in centre field. Nigel Smart's been the player that just sucked away from the contest. His opponent, Campbell's gone into the contest. Just terrific percentage play, knowing there's a pack of players around the ball in the centre square.
And that certainly is a decent old pack too. A chance for Victoria to clear through Thompson. He got his hand pass out wide. That was good. Down towards half forward once again. Backing was Riccardi, couldn't take the mark. Pickett's under pressure, pokes it wide. Hocking's been very busy, may get a little bit of time here, but closing fast is Wakeland. Pushes it back, here's Johnson, takes the hand pass, shoots towards goal and hits the post. Brad Johnson adding it behind the Victorian tally.
Yeah, terrific run there by Johnson, who's lined up on centre wing. Bradley was his direct opponent early. No doubt Bradley's trying to get onto Gary Hocking, as we've seen on numerous occasions in the past years or so. But that was terrific work by the Victorian team.
Gee, Ben Hart's done a good job here. He's got it to the centre. Bradley on the up was good. To Rashuto. Rashuto's kicked to half forward. The South Australia's got a chance here. James misses the lot. Or no, just a behind. Richard Osborne, you're at that half forward flank. How have you seen it early?
I suppose with the wind conditions going the end, that South Australians are kicking at this point. I'm not surprised they're in front, but the Vicks have started off quite well. The Western Bulldogs boys, Grant, Smith, and also Johnson, and those boys have done very well so far.
1-3 to 3-1. When you look at the South Australian goals, Franco, McRae, and McRae again, they've been freakish goals, haven't they? All three of them. So, in the Big V, to go for Crow, belts it to half forward. Smart to try and get back. Now he's got Pickett. He's kicked it around the body, out to half forward. That battle here. Little one on the up from Rashuto, unable to get it out. And it forming, and it'll be a ball up at half forward. Victoria in attack. They trail by 10 points. Mark Rashuto. South Australia, Mackay, who started on the interchange, had a fine season. Almost back to that form when he started. Oh, good tackle on Burgoyne. He was caught for throwing it.
Really had nowhere to go there, Bruce. A very tight situation.
West to Hocking. Hocking short again. Gets to Burke. Burke back to King. King belts it hard to centre half forward.
Doesn't he love that, David King? Starting attack from defence. Down to half forward. Pressure on Clark. Had it, lost it, so too Grant. Ridden into the ground by Rashudo.
Good effort there by Matthew Clark. Obviously, he's been instructed to push back across half-back as much as he can in front of Chris Grant and Matthew Lloyd and co across half-forward for the Victorian team. Good discipline, good starting points.
Still in the middle. And socket off the ground, down towards half-forward. Here's an opportunity now wide. This is Campbell. He's 50 metres out, no one on the mark. He thought about going on with it. Now goes back, chips into the pocket. It's a poor kick. It just lands inside the field of play. And there'll be a throw in the left forward pocket for Victoria.
Sandals, I think it's very, it's okay to be critical in situations like that, but you just got to get back from the mark and balance yourself. Wayne Campbell just rushed himself on that occasion. Lloyd found space, but the execution certainly wasn't there. Everett and Clark. Well, here's an opportunity trying to bend it back and wobble it through is Harvey. Brett Harvey, welcome to State of Origin. On goal.
This is very clever. Great skills by Harvey. And the Big V closed the gap 2-3 to 3-1. Check side kick, keeping it low. Rashudo out of the centre. So a 4-point margin here. McRae's got 2 for the Crow Eaters. Franco 1, and for the Big V, it's Brent Harvey after Nigel Lappin's goal.
And just on Brent Harvey, I mean, the Victorians were looking for someone to hit the packs throughout the week, and they went to North Melbourne and got him, and that's the reason why we got him on the side.
Dipper on that boundary line. Byron Pickett, speaking of the Kangaroos, has done well for the Crow Eaters early on. Kicks the ball to half forward. King, it's close to the line. It'll be a boundary throw in.
Come back on, and Clark coming off for the South Australians.
Look at the inside 50s. It's 14 to 5 in Victoria's favour, and yet they trail by 4 points. So the Crow Eaters have been pretty clean going forward, and they've kicked those 3 freakish goals. Thompson from half-back. Mackay, he timed it beautifully. The handball to Smart wasn't all that smart, actually, but the kick from Smart to Franco, and the mark or the free kick paid at centre wing.
Good recovery by Nigel Smart.
Been good, Franco, early. Gets it inside 50. The target, Treadray. It's going to be a difficult day for high-flying forwards. Smith getting plenty of it. Belts it back to the centre now. Lloyd's the one man here. He's surrounded by Crow Eaters. Smart gets a second go. Suddenly he's outnumbered. The Big V close in on him. A loose ball. The ball comes out to Franco, having a terrific match. Kick not all that good, but it's very difficult. Well played by McRae. Was able to sort of rob it of Everett. Comes back to James. James has got a bit of space. He times the kick to centre half forward. Built it away by Koutafidis. The ball on the ground. Holland's handball getting out. Not too far. Rashudo back to Daffy. Daffy's normally got a bit of power. He kicks to full forward. Smart in a bit of trouble in the box. Lepage takes the mark in the back pocket.
King called through, but he elects the other way, and it's going to be okay. Campbell is there. He goes short towards half-back. Lappin running out of room, goes back to Campbell. From half-back up towards centre wing, but under pressure. Kicks it onto the chest of Rashudo. He gives it off to his skipper, Bradley. Punts it to half-forward. Pittman comes out and he takes the mark on his chest. Plays on straight away. Big chance for South Australia here. Going in towards full forward. Lepage is the effective spoiler. Playing in front. Here's David King. Charging out of defence. King looks over centre. Up towards Chris Grant. He's in that pack. Beat 2. Waitland came over the top. His spoiler drops down from Lloyd. Lloyd gives the hand pass away. Riccardi's going to get one down ground.
Yeah,
and there's been a report.
There's been a report. Yeah, it was high contact just immediately after Harvey kicked the ball, and so the free kick will be relayed to where it actually bounced, very close to the goal square. We see it again here, just as Riccardi disposes of the footy. That's the one we see. First contact on the shoulder, second contact on the ear.
And the bottom line is the goal has been kicked down ground and Victoria closes the gap. So Mead looks as though his name has gone into the books. Hocking has his first goal for Victoria. And the margin is now 2 points in favour of Victoria.
Gee, in saying that, John, I didn't think there was much in that sort of contest. It looked like Peter Riccardi accentuated the free kick. Good on him. The luck went Victoria's way. Gary Hocking kicking his first goal for Victoria, for him and also Victoria. But David King has been a terrific player across half-back. He's already had 9 kicks. He's playing on Brett James at this stage. He was another player who set that forward thrust up.
Just 3.5 minutes remaining in this first term. Thompson gets caught in the middle and is driven into the mud. This is what happened to Nigel Smart, and he gingerly picked himself up. He's gang tackled by Lloyd and also Harvey. That appears to be okay. In the meantime, it's down towards Holland and half forward. Koutafidis, that's a fine tackle. The advantage is going to be paid. It's King again. What a quarter he's had, David King. Kicks back towards centre wing. Chris Grant in front but couldn't take it. Spider Everett pushes it wide. Chance now for Victoria with only a couple of minutes remaining. Scotty West looks down towards the 50. A high floating punt kick. No one able to take it cleanly. Lloyd sits out the hand pass. Back towards Grant. That is a very clever kick. Harvey for goal. There's another one. Brett Harvey's got 2.
And that is just magnificent vision there by Chris Grant. Terrific stuff there. More often you see football, the principle that is involved with the ground level ball. Matthew Lloyd was the one who picked up the ground level ball, but to get front of that contest, that's what teamwork's all about. Chris Grant was the player who got front of Matthew Lloyd's eyes, made it easy for him to release the ball by hand. But what about the vision of Chris Grant? Left side, found Harvey, unopposed. He knew that he could play on and kick truly for goal. That's terrific setup by the Victorian team in their forward 50.
Robert Wall's in there. Well, since Harvey's come on, they've kicked the last 3 goals, the big V, and he's got 2 of them. Hocking the other one, and the big V on top. Pickett, well played, brilliantly played. Bangs it back to centre wing, gets a bit of distance. Smith outnumbered, but does a terrific job. Not paid. Great contest there with Burgoyne. King breaks a tackle. Victoria on a bit of a roll here. King's kicked the centre half. Pickett, wonderful again. Then kicks the ball into the centre. A battle here. Burke chasing hard, belts it off the ground. McRae to chase him hard. The ball almost out. Campbell will be happy to run it over the line, and he does. And a boundary throw in at half forward.
Bruce, knowing that the ball will spend a lot of the time on the ground, terrific play there by Byron Pickett. There's no doubt you can sort of sense that the Victorian players are getting more numbers at the ball.
Pittman down to Viney, down to McRae. McRae's kicked well inside 50. Treadray front spot, brought to ground. Franco's got to stroll in and kick another one. He's got his second. South Australia get one back late. Well, he's playing a bit of a first quarter as Josh Franco, as the rain tumbles down here, and South Australia close it again.
Yeah, terrific stuff there by the Victorian team. Certainly they needed that goal. It was a Victorian team that kicked 3 unanswered goals, 2 to Harvey and also 1 to Hocking. But once again, the ball spending a lot of time at ground level. That's where you need your ground level support at. Franco, who's worked extremely hard in this first quarter, already accumulated 11 possessions, but more importantly, got 4 to centre to kick 2 goals. That's what constructive midfield work's all about.
2 points the margin. Pittman in ruck in the middle. Hocking tries to get it out. McKay, a good intercept. Rashudo came in over the top. Brett Ratton, normally found at the bottom of packs. This time is no exception. Pittman and Everett. Pittman got a hand to it. Trying to sneak away was Thompson. Pushed away from McKay. Grant was there holding on. Umpire says play on. So they do. And Thompson kicks them inside 50. Danger here. Lloyd, if it sits. Pickett is there as well. It beats them both over the line. Matty Lloyd. The big hope out at Windy Hill this year. He's made a great start to the season. Everett and Pittman, Hocking at the back with James. Daffy towards centre wing. Still time for Victoria as Thompson picks it up again, kicks it past McKay, tried to soccer off the ground. That was dangerous. Waitland wobbles a punt back towards the middle. Look at David King. He has had a sensational quarter. 11 kicks to David King. Down towards Rowan Smith. He likes these. Smith from 50. Goes for goal for Victoria. And has kicked it.
I think a lot of people thought this weather would be conducive to a scrappy type of a contest. But 9 goals in the first quarter is testimony to the fact that these players are full of skill. David King across half-back, he certainly has been the springboard of attack for the Victorian team, as has this man, Rowan Smith. We know he loves to run forward of centre when he gets the opportunity to receive the ball. He is such a penetrating kick for goal. He is worth his weight in gold.
E.J. Whitten winner last year, Smith getting a late goal in this first term, 5-3 to 4-1. Victoria pushed forward again. Smart held them up, was a good job. McKay tries to barge his way clear. Taken by Everett, handball cut off, Rashudo's handball, well played Burke, just positioned McRae out of it. It's been an interesting duel. Bradley gets in with King, well done by Bradley. Viney was clever enough. Daffy's little one, South Australia going forward, siren sounds. Very good first quarter. At quarter time, the Big V 5-3, South Australia 4-1. Terrific quarter, 33 to 25. Graham Corns with Phil Malin. We've been able to listen to some of the reactions and tactics from the South Australian coaches bench in the first quarter, but I think we've all been surprised at just how well everybody has played in that opening term. Terrific contest. It's 5-3, 33 to 4-1, 25. Welcome back to the MCG. It's quarter time here at the big State of Origin clash, and the Big V coming home hard in that first term. Harvey kicked a couple for them. They lead South Australia 5-3 to 4-1.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
Robert Walls there. They kicked 4 of the last 5 goals in that opening term. Did the Big V. Gerard Healy and Simon Madden also there. Gerard, the chairman of selectors for Victoria. Simon Madden, one of the all-time greats at Essendon, and also for the Big V. Graham Corns, what a record he has. He's had 7 wins from 8 coaching efforts at State of Origin level. Neil Curley's with the Big Dipper.
Yeah, thanks very much, Bruce. Well, Curley, had to see that first quarter.
Well, they had too much control in the centre square and too much control across in the boundary throw-ins, and also too much control from King and Hocking. They're hurting us badly. And also, I hate to harp on it again.
Don't mention free kicks. 8
free kicks to 2. And I'll tell you whose way. No, you tell them.
Your way, isn't it?
No way. 8 frees to 2. They're giving the boys a pretty hard time out there. It's a great game of footy. We just got to try and get some more ball out of centre.
And what's the message at quarter time by the coach?
Try and organise the centre square better with the tap. There's a bit of luck because the ball's going all over the place, but just work harder in the centre square and try and generate some run.
I miss you down here, buddy.
Yeah. Neil Curley, the king, who's there's Robert Walls and Gerard Healy. Neil, who's been such a great part of state football over so many years. As we're about to set ourselves up for the start. Second quarter about to start here at the MCG. Victoria 5-3, leads South Australia 4-1. The Crow Eaters go to the left of screen. Morrison, who came on late in the opening term, over the top of it, gets it back towards Lappin. Lappin's handball okay. Johnson gets good distance to fall forward, and Lloyd's got it. Dry foot, he was able to belt it forward. Handball affected by Lappin. And here's the hard one from Rashudo on Scotty West. But West is a tough nut. And Lloyd, who was well held by Wakeland in the opening term, he has such a presence, Lloyd. He sort of brings a lot of players into the game around him, and he's got the chance to kick his first today.
And Bruce, Darryl Wakeland's been trying to play him from about 5 to 10 metres in front and not let Lloyd lead for the ball, and that occasion he was caught out a little bit.
Kicked 3 goals a couple of years ago against South Australia, did Lloyd, and really should score. And he's poked it through. Victoria get an important early goal and lead by 14 points.
Yeah, once again, Bruce, it just was that forward motion, just thinking forward under pressure. Didn't try to over-finesse the ball. Good play there by Morrison. Tried to get the ball to Lappin. Quick hands. Johnson had no space to try to invent anything. Just got the ball onto his foot, got it forward, kicked it to the advantage of Lloyd, who took an uncontested mark on his chest. And that's a terrific start for the Victorians. Down to you, Dip. You got the South Australian bench.
I certainly have Wellman, Edwards, Robran. We've got Darcy, Clark and Peter Burgoyne.
This is an important time for South Australia here. They can't afford a couple of goals and let the big V sneak away. McKay takes a good mark in opposition to Morris, and he gives it to Hart, who looks up towards a half forward. James was trying to take the diving mark, not successful. Some strong body work then by Matthew Rogers, who's on the ground now. Here's Hocking, had an excellent first quarter, gives it off to Rowan Smith. Smith looks down towards left half forward. Lloyd's come a long way out, and in front of him is McKay. Thinks about Smart going short, now goes back and looks towards centre wing, where a big pack of players is gathered. Burke was one of them. Thompson waiting down, just a little toe poke forward. Viney, one of the leaders in the race for the ball, tries to bend it back, not successful. And Victorian opportunity to go to Grant. He's in the left forward pocket. He gets a cool bounce, initially goes again, but finally it's taken over the line by Darren Mead. Had his number taken in the first quarter. One man who doesn't know anything about having numbers taken is Dipper. Who have you got on the Vic bench, Dip?
Silvani, Riccardi, Allen, Crode, Swartz and Leon Challey for the Vics. Sandy?
Thank you for that. In the left forward pocket, Grant again doing the work. Or Morrison also got to go. If he'd kicked that, he would have had an unusual sound here at the MCG. They would have been cheering a West Australian or a West Coaster. The high flick is by Johnson in towards full forward. Big pack of players. McKay's under pressure. Held it for a long time before getting the hand pass away. Hocking asks the question to no avail. And there will be a throw in the left forward pocket.
And Sandy, Curls made a pertinent point at quarter time, saying that the South Australian team certainly has to get more clearances. South Australia have won 14-5 in hit-outs, with Matthew Clark dominating. It's been the Victorian team 16-12.
Oh, Grant did beautifully down towards Lappin, who just misses.
(40-25), 10 scoring shots to 5, and 5 of the last 6 goals. So Victoria on top here. Ben Hart. It's a good kick to Darryl Wakeland at the 50. Wakeland along the line towards centre wing. James, it sits, and then he's able to turn around and then cleverly get it on. Good play to half forward. Taken here by Rogers. First good look at him, but the kick's not so strong. And in the front spot, Lepage takes the mark and pushes wide to Rowan Smith at half-back. Smith may go over the top. He does. Lekas, I may have called him Crode in the early stages, and bangs it out wide to his captain and Hocking. Hocking over the top. Loose man created. Not a good kick. Gives Bradley a chance to cut Campbell off. And South Australia will be pretty pleased with all of that as the ball goes to the line. Paul Couch observing, one of our observers around the ground. Couchy.
Yes, Victoria's half-back line and Smith and King have been absolutely sensational, combining with Nathan Burke. They're just running the ball out completely, and they're trying to get a four-way swap with McRae and Daffy there, and they're just struggling at the moment to get that matchups right.
And Couchy, hasn't Lee Matthews turned Justin Lepage's career upside down?
Oh, well, he's turned him into an attacker now, even in the full-back line. He used to worry about the bloke being on him. Now he can turn around and go straight, and that's the best part about Lepage. He does play straight and hard.
Rashudo doing some hard work there. West trying to get through. Look, he's surrounded by 6 South Australians, one of them Darren Mead. But he's still got the ball, and he goes to centre half forward, and he finds Johnson. He should goal from 48 metres. He will goal from 48 metres. Johnson gets his first.
Who have we got here? Is that Spider?
Yeah, Spider Everett. The
Everett.
doctor's just checking him at the moment. It looks like he's got a cut inside his mouth. We'll keep you up to date with that.
Thanks, Dipper. The big V flying here. The Bulldog players having a big impact, aren't they? In the centre square, Franco.
Bruce, just one thing that's really become evident in this game is the midfield of the Victorian team is certainly starting to dominate. It's been 90 possessions to 52.
Here's Graham Corns in the box.
Johnson is Allen's losing. Johnson has just put himself between he and the goal, so he knows where he is at all time. Get Matty Clark prepared. Okay, he can come on with Allen, and David Pittman can have a rest. Okay.
So Johnson creating some problems, and Mead gets it from Smart, kicks to half forward. Pittman front spot almost, and then West and Viney, and it'll be a ball up. Good effort by Pittman. I think he thinks he should have been paid.
In conditions like that, John,
well, the
umpire perhaps be a little liberal?
Well, they can be a little liberal, but they still have to conclude whether he's actually controlled the ball. And obviously a lot of people have differing views on that, whether he did or whether he didn't. But the test is still the same, though, Sandy. He must be construed as controlling the ball. Sure. Terry Wheeler, from your vantage point, the big V travelling well.
Oh, they definitely are, Bruce. They've really got things covered well down the back. You spoke about Lepic. Kutafidi's doing a very good job. And then the run of Smith. The Bulldogs have been impressive here this afternoon so far.
Gee, you must hate saying that as Wellman comes onto the ground. James is going to get 50 here against the Big V. Free kick for a high tackle and then 50 metres.
That's right, Bruce. Maybe you heard Curls. But just in relation to Curls' comments in the first quarter, there were a couple of free kicks. We see here the free kick paid for the high tackle initially, and then there is a little bit going on after the free kick is paid. The free kick is paid by this stage. Brett Ratton gets up and gives him another shove, and that's what the 50-metre penalty was paid for. So certainly that evens things up a little.
So James from point-blank range has kicked the goal. They needed it.
As you mentioned, Bruce, Smart's off the ground, just have his ankle retaped. He's okay.
Thanks, Dipper. And it looks as though Spider Everett's okay too, as Brett James has just booted his first goal for South Australia. That's the one they needed. Johnson tries to go off the ground again. Here's danger because Morrison's got Don left half forward. The advantage is going to be paid. How much an advantage? None, so it'll come back.
And the reason the ball will come back is because the umpire has concluded that effective disposal couldn't be created, so it comes back.
Lekas takes it, kicks down towards half forward. That's an excellent mark from Chris Grant. Control, you talk about controlling in football, John. He did it beautifully. 45 metres out.
Yeah, terrific mark here. Just pushed back onto the body of Mead, and then had the ability to get his hands free at the right moment. Flat hands, wet footy, good percentage play there by Chris Grant. Allowed the ball on his second grab to land in his chest, and that's what forward marking on a wet day is all about.
45 metres. Grant going for his first, and a chance to stretch this Victorian lead once again. But just away to the right. What's happening in the South Australian coaches box at the moment? Corns and Co are there.
Well, just tell Braddles that. Did you tell Braddles what was happening with Thompson and?
Wellman's on
okay.
to.
They're just going to be alert, surely. I mean, they just can't allow players to suck off the pack. Okay.
Wellman's on.
Game is critical now.
Hart finds Viney. He looks towards Rashudo on the outer side, but he's beaten. Lekas applies a good tackle. Johnson manages to get a kick down towards half forward. He wanted Grant again, but they've pounced on him. Look at Pickett. He's hard and he's tough and he's wiry. Losing it was Wakeland. Look at that tackle. Both arms pinged. Viney again gets the hand pass away to Wakeland. He's under real pressure as he kicks back towards centre wing. Maybe a turnover here. West had it and lost it. Now got to go again. Burke comes in to assist, but there'll be a ball up almost in the middle.
Sandy, it's interesting now. Graham Corns mentioned the influence that Brad Johnson's starting to have on this game. Rashudo, who was picked up initially by Andrew Thompson in the midfield for Victoria, for South Australia, I should say, he's gone to Johnson on centre wing, and naturally trying to ask him to play a stopping role.
Bradley's hand pass went astray to Ratton, who feeds off towards Johnson. Johnson chips in towards half forward. Oh, that was courage by Pickett.
Absolutely magnificent stuff. That is team lifting stuff, and if South Australia ever need to get back into this game, they need to take a line through this bloke's courage at the football. He did not take his eyes off it one instant.
Certainly no malice by Matthew Lloyd. I think he was going to attempt to mark, Mike, and then just was a little late, so had to fold up and bump.
James heads back in the direction that the ball came. Wakeland's got it in the right back pocket. Just chips it over the top. Here's Hart. Let's have a listen to what Corns has to say on Pickett.
Oh, geez, that's gutsy. That's real gutsy, Pickett.
Well, we know that he is a gutsy player, Byron Pickett, and he's certainly got the admiration of Graham Corns. There's Nigel Lappin, kicked a goal in the first quarter, and they've got it deep in this scoring zone again. In front of the scoreboard, there's Pickett. In the left forward pocket, Victoria leading 7-5, South Australia 5-1. Clark doing the work with the right hand and winning it down, just pushing it down in front, hocking at the back, can't get clear. Pickett goes in again. There'll be another ball up.
And Sandy, I just don't know whether that's the right matchup from South Australia's point of view. Rashudo's a real go and get the footy type of player. Johnson really plays a percentage, sucks off the contest. Maybe McKay might be the better option.
Camporelli has been quiet. Campbell's done the job on him so far. To centre wing, Smith. Well played against Rogers. Advantage given to Lloyd. Lloyd clever round the body. Big V in here. Campbell's got plenty of space. He strolls inside 50, then decides to go to the goal square, pops it up. Clark probably should have tried to mark it. Lappin comes off his boot. Thompson is it around the body, kicks the goal. Another one.
22-point margin now, proving some concern for Messrs Corns and Curley and Co. in the South Australian coaches box. Allen tries to slap it out of the middle. Ratton was working hard up towards half-forward. Grant was sandwiched, but by G did it well. McKay hopefully tidying up at the back for South Australia, pushing it wide towards Wellman. He's under the pump and loses it. Look at Grant. He worked really hard then. Follows that ball down now. Hart just gets in front of him and heads to the line. And there'll be a throw-in.
Grant there, Sandy. Hasn't he hit the packs hard today? He's just been fantastic.
Sensational.
And really courageous by Ben Hart there too, to be backing back into nowhere. You know, the unknown coming.
Inside 50 this quarter, Victoria 8, South Australia 2, and the man doing the damage for Victoria, no doubt about it, has been Johnson. The Leckers hand pass to Burke is okay. Another one to Harvey, but the ball is smothered. Maybe an opportunity now for South Australia. They need a couple of steadying goals badly. Bradley takes the hand pass from Scotty Camporelli. Goes down towards Holland, who's been shut out of it. And the free kick is going to go the way of Victoria. Yeah,
Holland actually, we see in the replay here, Holland actually, well, the signal given was for holding, and really looked as though it was 6-1, half a dozen the other. Cooter doing his fair share as well.
It's a centre wing. Mead punch it away. Thompson on his left foot brings it back. Clever kick. Morrison on hands and knees to Buddha. Hocking. Oh, he saw him. That's clever. Goes over to Harvey. Harvey, who kicked 2 goals in that opening term, coming off the interchange. Loads up. Goes hard and high to Lloyd in the pocket. He's got him. It looked a tough call against Holland at half forward, but Victoria dominating here, 8-5 to 5-1.
Bruce, that's a perfect case where Darryl Wakeland was 10 metres away from Lloyd, trying to play in front, and just gave him too much latitude. So when the quick kick came in, Lloyd had the advantage to his side, and Wakeland had no chance at all.
And what about the set-up kick from Buddha Hockey? Just fantastic. He knew he was on the left-hand side.
The good thing with that one, Dipper, was Brent Harvey's voice. It was as clear as a bell, and Buddha knew exactly where he was.
Our observers ringing the ground here at the MCG. Lloyd to kick from the pocket. Kicked 1 goal at the start of this quarter. And he might have hooked it. Or has he goal? He's kicked it.
Luke Darcy's on for South Australia and contesting in the middle. They desperately need goals now if they're going to stay in touch. Lappin has it held up at the bottom of the pack with Ratton and Co, and there'll be a ball up in the middle.
Just a Nigel Smart, we said his ankle's been retaped. There's also been ice at the moment. Looks like he might be off the rest of the game.
Darcy working hard, gets it down towards Rashudo. Josh Franco in there too, but it's James who gets it out. Kicks down towards half forward. An important ball here, picked up by Holland. Snaps in towards goal for South Australia and skids it away to the right for one behind.
Yeah, that was the goal that South Australia certainly needed to get back into this contest, because it's been the Victorian team at this stage is certainly winning most of the balls around that midfield area.
Now, David King about to bring it back in. What's Graham Corns got to say?
Robin to centre half forward, Nick Holland to full forward, give Warren the rest, okay?
Lappin on left half forward for Victoria. Does it with relative ease. Swings round. Kicks in towards half forward. We've got a player at the back. This is Morrison. He's swamped, but he does well to get it out towards Lloyd. Lloyd chips away at goal, but under pressure is pushed away to the right and another behind.
Sandy, just with Rowan Smith playing so well the half-back line, they put Camporelli on him just to run with him, just to hold his run from the half-back line. He's playing that well.
Robin now going to full forward, Sandy, Treadray off.
Yep.
Well, I think Robin might go to centre half forward and Holland full forward, because we heard Graham Corns talk about it a moment ago.
Correct. Darcy's a target here, but Lloyd's well in front of him and takes an uncontested mark. He'll swing in towards goal. Beautiful looking kick, goes deep into the square. Big pack of players. Doing the roving work for Victoria was Brent Harvey. He's kicked 2 goals, those coming in the first quarter, but he was unable to keep that one in play, and we've got another throw in. There's Warren Treadray. A key for Port Power if they're going to be a success. Grant contesting with Darcy, the latter winning it down, but they want goals at the moment. Back towards the skipper and Bradley. Craig Bradley's on half back. One player you know will run all day and give his absolute all. Short to Daffy. Nick couldn't hold it. Maybe costly, although Pickett is there to assist him. He's caught by Grant. Sensational jumper catch. Spills free towards Hart. He kicks back towards the centre of the ground, but the Victoria has the numbers, and they've got Nathan Burke going in towards Lloyd. Almost took it on the chest. Working hard as Grant, but they've collared him. A gang tackle with Wakeland and Pickett. He's going nowhere.
You can just see the Victorian defence has certainly been settled. Even though Holland and Robin have switched, Lepic has stayed at full-back and Koutafidis has stayed at centre-half-back.
Rashudo with strength. Robin outnumbered. Mark taken by Koutafidis, having a big game. To Allen, his Carlton team, Mac, and he pushes wide. Hocking and Johnson can almost wax this one. And they probably, well, they messed it up, didn't they? They really did. Just a lack of understanding there, and Craig McRae doing the job. So a mistake by the Vics, almost as bad as the Daffy Bradley mess up a moment ago, which could have cost South Australia a goal.
And Daffy's off the ground and Viney on.
Centre wing, thanks Tibbett. Darcy, little kick out, came from Franco. Hart was there. Bradley trying to impose himself on the game, and the ball up. So Victoria leads 60-32. Remember that South Australia had a couple of goal lead in the opening term. They led at one stage 3-1. And South Australia's only goal in this term came from a free kick and a 50-metre penalty to Brett James. It does tell a tale. Victoria dominating here. They're winning the 50-50 balls. They seem to be physically a bit stronger at the moment, pushing forward in the contest. Rashudo and Brett Johnson. A bit of a wry smile there. Centre wing. A battle. Goals are going to be hard to get, you'd think, in the second half. So this is a good lead for Victoria. Going to be some tired players out there. Kicked by Ben Hart to centre-half forward. Now Burgoyne, such a skillful player. And left foot around the body is a good one. And found his man in Holland. It was a clever kick by Burgoyne.
Yeah, magnificent touch there, Bruce, as you called it. Burgoyne, as we know, he's just a real excitement machine. He hasn't had a lot of the footy at this stage, only with 2 possessions. But first of all, to pick the ball up cleanly, then run onto his non-dominant side, knowing that Holland had dropped off Lepic's back, who come to meet that contest with King and Burgoyne. This is an important kick from Nick Holland's point of view, and also South Australia's.
He needs a bit of confidence personally, and 35 metres out. It's close. I don't know. Has it made it? I think it's a goal.
Nick Holland keeps South Australia in touch. Back to a 22-point margin. Out of the middle goes Scotty West. Kick is slightly astray, however, and it's taken by Viney on half-back. A disappointing hand pass. Could prove very costly. Lekas bends one back, Angelo. And almost made him pay the ultimate price.
And how often do you see that, Sandy, with a wet ball, the player pushing back and trying to handball the ball forward? It's just low percentage. You can't afford to do that. You've got to get your momentum of your body through the contest, through the ball, and actually hit to the target. On that occasion, Viney decided to push back and incorrectly disposed of the ball.
I hope Brett Ratton gets changed at half-time. Here's Johnson almost in the middle. He's a dasher. Needs someone coming back the other way, and he's got another dasher in David King. Had a sensational start to this game. Kicks towards centre wing. That's okay. Thompson goes short, and he's got Allen. Allen looks down towards right half forward. Here's Brett Ratton. Forgets about Lekas and goes longer in towards right forward pocket region where Grant comes out. The good news for Spider Everett fans, he's coming back out onto the ground, so whatever the problem was with that cut mouth, if it was that, he appears to be okay. But the action is with Chris Grant. Peter McKenna, you're down there with him, Pete?
Yeah, it's probably too far for Chris. No, with the dry ball, he would kick it for sure, the distance, but he was looking for the short one. Now he's having a shot off the side, starting to swing back, but he was worried, Sandy, about that distance for sure.
Yeah, just sneaking it in. Another behind to Victoria. 3 behinds to Chris Grant. And Victoria moved to 9-8. They've kicked 4 goals, 5 in this term, so they have had the opportunities to really set up a commanding lead. Bradley's in trouble in the back pocket, but he does well to get out of it. Oh, big fly. No mark. It was Wayne Campbell, I think, who, when it did come down, managed to get his kick down to the forward line. Effective spoiling work by Pickett. Lloyd's in the pocket. Hurried kick. Socket off the ground in towards goal, and behind is the result.
One thing, Sandy, the Victorian forwards are certainly working very hard when the ball's in the area, and obviously put a lot of pressure on the South Australian backmen to make sure their kicks are spot on.
Big fly from Wayne Campbell. Now Ben Hart, torpedo punt a moment ago. to try and get extra distance. If he can get it over the pack, it's going to skid away for him. And he's going to try it again. Gets it hard and high into the centre. Darcy was there, built it on. It was good play by Whirlman. He's got it to Robert in the heart of the centre. He's gang tackled and a ball up. Good call from Scott McLaren. So pretty effective there, Hart. They distance the key here to try and get it away. Rowan Smith putting the initial tackle on. Ratton, as Sandy said, is going to need a real clean-up at half-time. Darcy, Campbell, so sort of scooped out. Was it thrown?
He's gone.
Yep. I mean, he elected to drag the ball back in, and that's just fatal under the instructions the umpires are given now, because if you elect to drag it in, a tackle legally, and don't immediately hit it out, you're gone.
So Wayne Campbell having a good match. He's stitched up Scott Camporelli in the first half, kicks towards centre-half forward. Pickett read it best, then kicks the ball hard and wide. He wants to bound it on. There's nobody there, and it's going to be a ball in. 63-38. Everett with a cut inside his mouth we saw on the interchange bench. There's the inside 50s. Have a look at that in the second and first quarters.
Yeah, just a huge discrepancy, 36-14. I think that's the reason why you see Victoria already at this stage of the game with a comfortable 25-point lead.
Darcy having a spell. Mead gets a kick back towards centre wing. McRae has been quiet. Burke was there, but it's socket away from him. Down towards right half forward. Peter Burgoyne. Very classy act. This young man runs out of room. Throw in on the outer side. Busy last week, Peter Burgoyne against St Kilda in the Saints' big 62-point win. He certainly was a trier for the losers as Everett kicks it back towards centre wing. Strong mark taken by Harvey. One of a couple multiple goal kickers. He gives it to Thompson, who kicks down towards half forward. Viney couldn't take it cleanly. The lap and hand pass okay, but an effective smother. Well, it ricochets back to Harvey. 55 metres out. He wants to go all the way. This could skid through. McKay chases, and he won't get there. Great goal, Brett Harvey.
There's the reaction for Harvey. So the little man strikes a big blow, doesn't he? Late in this first half. What a game he's having. He's kicked 3. Victoria on top here. South Australia desperate for a late goal. 6-2 to 10-9. Scott West. The Victorian grafters in West and Ratton, so important. The centre breaks all Victoria. Neil Curley talked about it at quarter time. He'll be more unhappy at half time. James out of the centre. Koutafidis. McRae tried to go off the ground. Cooter on the up was good. King will make it sit for him. He's a good player. He's scooped it up. The kick wasn't all that pretty, but it's a hard day for all of that. James under the gun. West has got him. Campbell's handball inside was terrific. Buddha leading from the front. Lovely kick. Lloyd on hands and knees. Goes back. Champagne footy. Kick by Grant to the pocket. Probably a bit cute in the end. And Harvey running out of room. And it's a boundary throw-in.
Just to handball the ball to a player running to his non-dominant side, especially boundary side, just has no merit at all in that. Better off getting back from the mark, Matthew Lloyd, assessing his options. Naturally, the execution wasn't good from Chris Grant. We know he usually finds targets, but just low percentage play from Victoria's point of view on that occasion.
Sorry, Mick Pittman, Mead. Now he's got to get rid of it. It'll be a ball up. Leckers with him. Minute and a half remaining in this first half. Victoria going to have a handy lead, whatever happens in the next 90 seconds. Franco, South Australia's best in the first quarter, but a bad result. So outside 50, but Victoria with a real chance here to stretch this lead. Been so good here, the Big V. Jumped a bit early. Thought any early break would be decisive, but they reeled South Australia in before quarter time, and they've gone on with it. It's almost like well, Norman Gunson would be proud of that one, wouldn't he? It's Peter Everett. He's about to kick it from, well, he's just going to kick it on 50. And that is a freak kick. I think he's dogged it. Unbelievable.
Not even Norman Gunson could kick those.
Spider spins a web or two. That is a huge kick. Wouldn't you like to kick one of those in a grand final late?
It certainly would be good. No doubt you treasure that moment. But there's a staggered approach in approaching his shot on goal. But soon as the ball made contact with a foot, I looked at Everett and he was confident the ball was sailing through. And that's just a terrific shot on goal. Wrong side for the wrong footer. But Everett he certainly is a skillful tall player.
That one could really hurt too with just on a minute remaining. Pittman tries to win it out of the middle for South Australia, and he does with a kick down towards Burgoyne. Doesn't lead initially in the race for the ball, and it's pushed over the line for a throw-in by David King, the dasher.
But Mick, as you said earlier, I mean, the goals that have been kicked today really confirm that we're looking at the best of the best.
Yeah, for sure.
The goals have been fantastic, even in the conditions we've got.
Everett and Pittman again. Holland cutting across to try and get a hand on the ball. Bradley lurking. Now this will be tough for Bradley, but he's a class player. Look at that. That is skill. We talk about seeing the best at work. It doesn't come much better than that.
That just is another example of a player with composure and poise. Craig Bradley was initially going to kick the ball on his left side or maybe try the right foot boomerang, but he had the presence of mind to balance his body, straighten it up towards the goal and just kick it low and flat and hard directly at that point. That is just an exceptional goal from that pocket. Craig Bradley, you are a superstar.
Well, the captain needed to kick a goal late, and he has. Good timing, John, with a comment by that. 11-9 to 7-2. We've seen some spectacular goals kicked here. Another one would be handy late. Was he legged, the captain? Well, it'll be a ball up.
Yeah, Bruce, I was right there, and there wasn't any daylight between the goals. There was just skillful play, and Harvey did the same in the first quarter.
Would you have a shower at half-time, Couchy, on a day like today? What do they normally do?
Have a shower, get a new change of socks, jumper, and get ready again.
It was soft, Couchy.
Campbell, Burke's kick went through Chris Grant. Terrific effort by Lloyd to put the hammer on Wakeland. Everett gets it from Lappin. Tried a check side from 45 metres. And it's half-time at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Victoria lead by plenty. That late goal by Bradley helps. It's 11-9 to 7-2. And plenty of work to be done here for South Australia. It's a high-scoring game at the moment. Plenty of goals kicked. We've had 18 in the first half. Victoria led by 8 points at quarter time, and they've stretched it to a big 31 points at the long break. 11-9, 75 to 7-2, 44. It's not a huge crowd. We didn't expect it once we saw the state of the weather today in Melbourne. It has been persistent and consistent. It's a good game of footy, though. The Vics kicked 6-6 to 3-1 in the second quarter, and they have taken charge. Bradley's late goal has helped the Crowies. So at half-time, Victoria 11-9 leads South Australia 7-2. Well, the AFL last night had a star-studded cast because they had their induction ceremony for their Hall of Fame. Craig Willis was there, and here's the story.
It is becoming one of the great nights of football. And for the 8 inductees, a night they will never forget. First up was 1970 Brownlow medalist and South Melbourne champion Peter Bedford. Followed by one of the Lions' bravest sons, Gary Wilson. Bob Hank from West Torrens in South Australia was also honoured. Former Collingwood stars, Peter Dacos and Channel 7 commentator Peter McKenna were inducted. Along with 2 former Hawthorn icons, Gary Ayres and Dermot Brereton. And Stephen Michael, twice a winner of the Sandover Medal in Western Australia, was honoured as well. And one of the greatest ever full forwards, Peter Hudson, was elevated to the status of legend.
Peter, a lot of accolades in your career, but how does it feel to be named a legend of the AFL Hall of Fame?
Well, as I said on the night, Craig, it was just fantastic. It hit me when I looked at the list of names, you know, the Cazalis and Barassis and Wittens and so on, and Dick Reynolds, and that's when it really hit me. And yeah, when it all sunk in, I was a pretty excited boy.
A truly humble champion, who can now rightly take his place amongst the elite of Australian football. His achievements forever perpetuated in the Hall of Fame.
What a player he was, Mickey, and a great night, and well-deserved for all of them.
Oh, certainly, Bruce.
Now, Craig McRae, 2 early goals. Burke's done the job since then, though, hasn't he? He's been able to hold him up a bit, but those goals early were very handy for the Crow Eaters.
Yeah, this was just good percentage wet weather footy. Getting the ball forward by Tyson Edwards, ran into the path. It's just a natural inclination for forward instinctive runners to run forward of the pack, especially in wet conditions. They know that's where the football is going to go. McRae, as we know, is a terrific finisher. Burke certainly had to stabilise that situation. Lost him a couple of times in traffic. Here's another example. Daffy got the little toe poke forward, but as I said before, it's that inclination to run forward of the contest. That's exactly what McRae did again on that occasion.
Brent Harvey's had a huge impact. When he came onto the ground, the Crusaders were a couple of goals in front. He's kicked 3 first-half goals.
Yeah, certainly is a quality player. We know he's a crumbing forward, but here's an example of his awareness around goal. Just let the wet ground basically do the work on that occasion. Kick the ball hard and flat into the ground. This is his second goal. Terrific pick up there by Lloyd to give to front and square to Chris Grant. Terrific vision there by Grant. Good composure in the tackle to find Harvey out the side of his right side. And Harvey just knew that he had space to run into, balanced himself, kicked the ball once again low and flat at the goal and let the wet ground do the work.
And this third goal, the late one in the second quarter, really struck a blow, didn't it?
Oh, certainly. He had 2 efforts involved in this. He took the mark across half back but followed it up. South Australia smothered the ball, but he was there for the overlap. Did balk and kick long directly at goal once again. Very good finisher.
He's having a great job with Pickett, isn't he? Pickett playing loose but creatively, but Harvey kicking the 3. We've seen some remarkable goals in the first half. Everett's was a beauty from the pocket.
Oh, certainly. Great composure from the big man. He just knew as soon as he kicked that ball, he ran towards the centre. And it's amazing when players do kick the ball neatly towards goal. They know. And what about this clash there of bodies between Chris Grant and also Ben Hart? Great courage. No doubt Malcolm Blight would be looking a little bit concerned when he's seen that contest. But there's the match stats at this stage of the game. Victoria certainly controlling it in most facets of the game, but the interesting one, inside 50s, 39-15. That's an astronomical figure going into the half-time break. It just goes to show the dominance of the midfield from Victoria's point of view as opposed to South Australia.
Well, you can ask Malcolm, but nothing concerns Malcolm. As we all know, Malcolm Blight will join us after the break. Welcome back to the MCG. It's half-time in the State of Origin. The Big V, 31 points in front of South Australia. They lead 11 goals, 9-7-2. That's what they're playing for, the Malcolm Blight Cup. And speaking of Malcolm, he joins us right now. Malcolm, you do hold a unique place in Australian footy in so many ways, and one of them is that you captain both these states and played for them both on 7 occasions. Did they have a different attitude going in? Victoria and South Australia?
No, I didn't find it much different, to be honest. I just thought it was some kids wanting to play footy at the best level in those days. So it was just a marvellous time to represent both states, really.
And what do you feel about the State of Origin debate that continually goes on at this time every year?
I think because of the Cup, you probably want to see it keep going, but I'm not sure about that. I think that perhaps a longer break between them, you know, I've heard about every 3 or 4 years, and really build it up then. Because we do get some pretty good footy each week now, don't we? So I could see that happening, perhaps.
It has such a great history, doesn't it? Both state footy and State of Origin football. State footy's been going for 100 years and State of Origin footy for 20.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm probably in that position now, coaching a team, you know, seeing blokes get injured or not get injured. I mean, I've never actually worried about that. I've always thought it was... we don't have a lot of winners in footy, and I think it's a chance for those guys that perhaps not playing in finals to actually do something on a day like today.
Nigel Smart's had his ankle strapped up. Now, you mentioned a moment ago, I didn't worry about that. Do you worry about it now?
No, I don't, no, because, I mean, I think it's part of footy. If you go out there worrying that, we could have done that at training. I really don't. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of others disagree with me, but that's fine.
Mead's been reported in the first half. Yeah. You know, Mark Williams, I guess, has got to worry a bit about that during the week. Same deal.
Yeah, well, it is. You know, quite frankly, I mean, Peter Riccardi's obviously played for a free kick and got it. There wasn't much malice in it, was there?
We've got to be careful here, but he looks safe, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, pretty safe.
And the contest so far today, I mean, it's just such a shame about the day in general in terms of the weather.
It is. I mean, you would have done anything to have a great day. Oh, look, this is perfectly honest, not in hindsight. I still could be proved wrong. I thought Victoria would win. I thought there were a lot of players in the South Australian team that were probably a little bit underdone form-wise, and they've gone for those names. So, you know, I expected Victoria to win because of form. They really have picked a pretty good form side.
They've had such a great run over the years, the Big V. They've always been the team to beat. Did you ever felt intimidated? Do you think South Australians have ever been intimidated by the Big V when they put the jumper on?
Oh, I've got no doubt at all. I can remember playing in a state game, in fact, which I captained. David Parkin was coach of it and said, we'll kick against the breeze. And I said, no, hang on, if I'm captain, I want to go with it. And I just felt that, you know, the South Australian mentality in those days were, gee whiz, they're going to power over us. So I didn't think we should disappoint them. And I must admit, David agreed at the end, which I was pleased about.
Malcolm, it's always great to catch up with you. Thank you for letting Anne and I come back to live in South Australia. You do own the place. We know that, and we'll catch up with you. Bloody good luck for the rest of the year, too, with the Crows.
Thanks, Bruce.
3 in a row is not easy.
No, it's not.
That's for sure. So that's the situation at half-time. We're playing for the Malcolm Blight Cup, and Victoria look to be in the driving seat, as they so often have been over the years. The second half coming up after this. Welcome back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground on this wet May day, and Victoria lead 11-9-75 to South Australia 7-44. You give them a chance, the Crow Eaters, Mick?
No, I don't, Bruce. I think the Victorian team is certainly in control in all facets of the game. Their midfield certainly in control. When they get the ball forward of centre, it's Grant and Lloyd that do look ominous, whereas the other hand, South Australia forwards are certainly struggling.
From one Collingwood star to another former Hall of Famer, Peter McKenna, how do you see it at half-time?
Thanks, Bruce. Yes, I agree with Mick. I think that the Vics have got this game pretty well in their keeping. And I agree also with Mick, the midfield and the smaller, medium-sized guys like King and Smith and Johnson and young Brent Harvey just doing so much damage, and Grant's working very, very hard around centre-half forward, and Lloyd's looking dangerous also. They've just got too much midfield dominance, and the South Australians aren't getting down their forwards, down their forward line often enough.
Pete McKenna played 7 games for Victoria. Paul Couch played 6 of them, and they were all pretty good ones. Couchy, how do you read it to half-time?
Well, I'm the same with the boys there. Hocking, Johnson, sensational in the midfield, but Smith in the half-back line, Camporelli's gone into him just to run with him because he's been so dominant. And David King's been sensational. James, he's been shifted off him, and Peter Burgoyne has gone onto him. Just their back line's been very good. They're rebounding players, and Burke and Campbell have also played very well. It's just a back line, midfield are playing so well. Back to you, Bruce.
Both teams out there. Paul Couch wouldn't have been surprised that Malcolm Blight had a pretty strong comment at half-time, if you read into it, that he wouldn't have picked exactly the same team as South Australia had picked. Terry Wheeler, can you see some flexibility in the Crow Eaters to bring them back?
It's a very hard call for him now, isn't it? Because in these conditions, Bruce, it's a contest where the ball is, and at the moment she's right in hard and close, and Victoria really have the edge there. The other additional edge they have is players who are prepared to kick the ball long and be attacking, particularly Smith and Johnson. They've been very damaging in that particular area.
Thanks, Terry. Richard Osborne played on 7 occasions for the Big V. He's at half-forward left at the moment, going to the big scoreboard end. Richard.
Bruce, I think under these conditions, the lead that the Vics have got at this stage will be insurmountable. But what I've found encouraging, and I suppose it's the spirit of state football, is the Victorians, you know, they play with the opposition clubs on weekends, but guys like Rowan Smith and David King through the backline enjoying each other's company, and they're just teaming so well and just enjoying the game, which is great to see. You mentioned Rowan Smith. Terry Wheeler earlier mentioned the Bulldog influence. Have a look at those for some half-time efforts. Mick McGawan. Yeah, certainly Grant's had 9 possession, 1 inside 50. Johnson's had 12, Smith's had 10, and West's also had 12. So, and there's some bad news for the Adelaide Crows' point of view. Malcolm Blight made a comment that injuries don't concern him. Certainly that would concern me if I was coach of the Adelaide Crows. His tongue in his cheek. Gee, that's a bad story, isn't it? We'll find out later. But looks like a toilet roll hanging off that wrapping paper, doesn't it? It's called a bandage, actually. But let's have a look at how it happened for Nigel Smart in the opening half. It just looked like all the legs got intertwined in this contest. There's 3 people involved. You really can't see it from that shot, but no doubt that's where the damage was done. Terry Wheeler, the Bulldogs have been huge, haven't they, in the first half?
Oh, Bruce, what's significant is that out at Footscray there is the Charles Sutton medal. That's for the best and fairest winner. But then the most coveted medal is the E.J. Whitten medal. We had Rowan Smith win it last year. And when one of the Western Bulldogs boys goes out to play, they get that little bit extra as a result of E.J.'s involvement in our footy club. It's a good point, Terry. There's Nigel Smart again. What a great player he has been over the years for the Crows, and hopefully it's not as bad as it looks at the moment. And there's all those legs intertwined. 3 players falling to ground, and obviously Nigel Smart was the worst recipient of that contest, and that is certainly bad news, not only for himself but also from the Adelaide Crows' point of view, because they certainly need a win next week. So Nigel Smart won't be back today. Will South Australia come back hard? They're not out of it completely. The Vics are long odds on favourites.
Second half about to start. The big State of Origin game of the MCG, 11-9 to 7-2. Victoria lead by 31 points. The Crow Eaters going to the right of screen and quickly out of the centre to half forward. They need a couple of early goals. Oh, that was confidence. Taking them on their King as he did in the opening half. Kicks to centre half forward to Grant Robert on Pickett. Grant's claiming it. A big fly, and it's going to be a bounce. Let's have a look.
We see Chris Grant actually try to spoil, and
yeah.
Look, there it is. It just comes down with him.
Centre half forward, Everett to Johnson. Johnson, yet another posse to half forward. Lloyd kicked 2 goals in the second quarter. Clever, very clever. Then a high ball. Grant's going to try and make a contest here, but Harvey's taken the mark against Tyson Edwards. Harvey's been a star in this match. In his first game for Victoria, maybe the littlest, smallest player out there, and he's standing tall. 3 first half goals. Hit the packs hard, didn't he, in the first half, and kicked straight.
And just on that instance there, Bruce, in that marking contest, he was the player that got his hands free. Tyson Edwards kept his hands low, down near his hips, but Harvey, just on the point of making contact with the opposition player, he was the one that got his hands up in the air so he could have first access to the ball coming through the air.
Like Bell, he's a impact goal-kicking player for the Kangaroos, and it's going to be another one. He's kicked 4. Well, legends in inverted commas are made on days like today, and Brent Harvey's going to take this match away with him forever now, isn't he?
Yeah, well, last night I think he was going to have or celebrate his 21st birthday. That was put on hold because of today's contest, but no doubt he'll celebrate in some way, shape or form tonight, because he has been simply outstanding since he's come on the ground in that midway through the first quarter. He is certainly an exciting player.
The E.J. Whitten medal won't be a nice present for him, but there's a long way to go yet. Viney attempted to soccer it away, but it only heads towards Chris Grant yet again. Mead is right there with him, almost in a headlock. Hart also. Grant almost loses his jumper, but there'll be a ball up on half forward for Victoria. Harvey has 4. Matthew Lloyd has 2. They are the principal goal kickers for Victoria. Hart again tries to get a quick kick, doesn't go anywhere. And there's been a free kick going the way of South Australia for holding. So it'll go back to the veteran defender who's been so solid for so long. That's a disappointing kick. Very difficult, though, with this wet ball, a slippery ball. Mark is taken by Andrew Thompson. He kicked a goal in the second quarter. Exciting young Saint. Heads up towards right half forward. McKay is at the back of the pack. Should get there first. Well, he put his teammate under a ton of pressure. Smith did well to get the hand pass away. The Victorians are relentless at the moment. Charging in towards half forward. Harvey almost loses his pants, but he's not concerned. Brent Harvey chips away short to his captain in Gary Hocking. Probably further out, but directly in front. He's got his vice-captain wide in Nathan Burke. He's got Campbell short, but he elects to look down towards Lloyd at the moment, who's offering him one in the pocket. Here he comes. And that's good. That's very, very good. Matthew Lloyd kicked 2 in the second quarter. He'll shoot for his 3rd now.
Yeah, that was terrific play there by a couple of the forwards who weren't going to be participants on the way through. Everett led to this side of the ground, allowing the space to be vacated. There's Everett at the top of the screen. He led out of that space so Lloyd could run into that space that was allowed for him to lead into. And that's just terrific forward cooperation by the Tools in that part of the ground. Hocking knew what was going on. He kicked the ball into the area.
Lloyd from 46 metres. Had a good year with the Bombers so far, booting 42 goals, but he's off target there and away to the right.
Sandy, the bench for South Australia is Wellman, Smart, Darcy Clark, Nick Daffy and Warren Treadray.
Thanks to 22 scoring shots to 9. It's a lopsided scoreboard. South Australia's going to need some clean possessions and some clean footy. Hart hasn't quite got it far enough. It was a good contest by the South Australian Mead, and Bradley able to belt it down towards the centre. Koutafidis was it a push in the back? No. Thompson probably unlucky. Taken by King. Terrific give to West. West to Johnson. Johnson then gets a bit of distance with a torpedo. Grants his target. Lloyd was a terrific flyer. McKay at the bottom of it. Pushed forward by Edwards only as far as Campbell. Campbell's kick is not a good one. He's trying to pop it up towards the front of the square. It's a tough day. It is a really hard day out there. and it's hard to be critical. Wayne Campbell's done a terrific job in this first part of this match. Up to half-time, Rashudo couldn't take the mark, may get a second go. It comes back, tap forward there by Leoncelli getting a run. Back to Rashudo, the Roo, handball over the top, okay. Bradley getting a few touches, left foot kick to centre wing. Oh, King was like a dry footy. He takes them on. The kick's not so good. It goes to McRae. McRae belts it to Holland. Holland takes a one-hander and should go back and kick a goal. The Crow Eaters need it, as they did when he kicked a goal in the first half.
And Justin Leppich, he was a little bit stiff on that occasion. He charged up the ground, assuming that King would run to his left side and give a left-handed handball. He turned the ball over, did David King, found McRae, who in turn kicked the ball quickly forward, and Holland took a well-judged one-handed mark. Good confidence. He certainly needs this goal to get the South Australian team back involved in this contest.
They really can't miss anything here, South Australia. That's not a good kick, even in the conditions. To fall forward, comes off Robran, and a boundary throw-in. So a poor result. King was magnificent until he kicked the footy, wasn't he?
In the right forward pocket for South Australia. Pittman and Everett. And again over the line.
Sandy, Gerald Wakeland's coming off the ground. Looks like he's got his left knee heavily strapped. He was struggling before half-time, and he's now come off, and Wellman's taken on Lappin now.
All right, Dipper, might be worth following that one up. I'm sure St Kilda fans will be interested to know that if he is okay. The hurried kick by Josh Franco, who kicked a couple of goals early on in that term.
And for the bench for Victoria, Silvani, Riccardi, Matthew Allen, Crode, Swarter, and Angelo Lekis.
Sean Wellman getting the job now on Lloyd. Everett getting a hand to it, but that was all. Rowan Smith's kick is partly smothered. Maybe a chance for Rashudo. Under pressure, shrugs one tackle, pushes it out in front of Rogers. Forced onto the right boot, goes into the pocket. Big pack of players pushing that over the line again. Robran in the pack, Kudafides there also, and so too Holland for South Australia.
Just on Wakeland, Sandy, it's nothing structural, it's just a bruised kneecap. So we don't expect him to be back on the ground for South Australia.
Okay, thanks, Dib. Pittman, can they capitalise here? It's held to him. And another ball up. Andrew Leoncelli, playing in his first State of Origin game, would be thrilled to be out there now. He's had a fair wait. Pittman locking arms with Everett again. James straight through the middle, and that's what they need.
Second goal to James. Victoria out of the centre. West bangs it hard to half forward. Gee, Lappin ran hard there and made it in front of Pickett. And then neat kick to fall forward. Lloyd in front. No free kick played or the mark. And now South Australia tie it up. So rain continues to tumble down here. Coming on for South Australia, Warren Tredrea. He'll be picked up by Anthony Kudafides. So they hang in the Crow Eaters. That not completely dead and buried here at 32 points. They certainly need the next couple of goals. You would think in the conditions that goals are going to get tougher as the game goes on. We've had plenty of them to date, 12 and 8. Graham Corns, who has a remarkable record as a State of Origin coach, 7 wins in 8 matches. He is looking down the barrel a bit today. Pittman lays it off. Rashudo belted it away, didn't go far. Campbell able to get it forward. Wellman there with Lloyd. In fact, as you look around the ground, Mickey, there's a number of teammates that are matching up against one another, and that's another case. The two Bomber players, head-to-head, Wellman and Lloyd.
Yeah, certainly, Bruce. Enthralling contest all over the ground.
Everett, Lappin has a bit of time. Bends it back into the square. And the mark almost taken. But no, Viney is forced to play on now. They should get out of trouble through Scotty Camporelli. He looks up towards centre wing. Tredrea's just come back out on the ground, replacing Robran. Rogers couldn't get there in time. Nathan Burke can. Pulls it back with the left foot up towards left half forward, but well spoiled by the aggressive Viney coming over the top of Andrew Leoncelli and forcing a throw-in. Todd Viney.
Sandy and Kudafides has done a great job at centre half back against Robran and Tredrea.
Yeah, he has been very solid all day. Johnson tries to go off the ground, not successful. West couldn't take it away cleanly. Look at Grant. That is all class. Lappin, it bounces off his chest, but he's quick enough to recover. 46 metres out from goal. Pulls it back in towards goal. Is just away to the left, pulling a little too far.
It's in trouble, Sanders. Like got the ball kicked right in his face there. And a cold day like this.
Ben Hart, yeah.
Yeah, Ben Hart, and that would sting on a day like today. A temperature of around 12 degrees. Consistent rain. And a piece of leather thrown in your face. To the outer side. Johnson busy to Rowan Smith. The doggies combining up towards right half forward. Wellman drops back, and despite the attention of Chad Morrison, takes a strong mark.
He's got McKay, and he's also got Hart now. He's going to have to kick it accurately. McKay is a good kick to Hart in the back pocket. Harvey closing late. 8-2 to 12-11. Hart's kick's a beauty. Into the centre. So Mead gets it from Rogers and kicks to half forward. It's with the Crow Eaters. Holland. He's held up. He's going to get a free kick.
High tackle, Bruce.
Nick Holland. Just one over the shoulder, coming from Scott West. Now Bradley gets it from him and then punches the ball in the Treadray direction. Front spot was Rowan Smith. Little give by Burgoyne. Back to Franco. Franco's kick's going to go close. It's rolling. Just the wrong side. And closing on it was Camporelli. So the Crow Eaters go to 51 to 83. Franco was a star in the opening term. 12-11, 8-3. King to bring it in. And he wants Campbell. Burgoyne front spot, Campbell at the back, play on call, ball comes back to Nathan Burke. Burke found some space and was able to quickly get the kick to centre wing. Hocking held his ground, Hart went to ground, ball comes back, West delivers from half back.
Goes up towards left half forward. In front, Tyson Edwards, and he did well. He was under a ton of pressure. He got it away to Mead, who kicks it high towards centre wing, slap to the line, and we've got another throw in as it sneaks away from Gary Hocking.
Just feel this is the chance for South Australia. Victoria's sitting on a 5-goal lead. Comfy, sure. A little burst by the Crow Eaters would just give them a chance here.
32 points the margin. Really, it's the last roll of the dice. They've got the use of what breeze there is. They've got to take advantage of it this quarter. Pittman slaps it down to try and accommodate Hart. Hart needs someone going past. Has him in Camporelli, gives it back to Rashudo. He bounces us in towards goal. Here's one for Holland. Maybe that's what they need to get them going. Holland gets his second.
So when the BV kicked the opening goal in the second half, it did look over, but South Australia just with a sniff. It's 12-11 to 9-3. It's still a big margin, and certainly Victoria have deserved every one of those points they lead by. Johnson kick wide. West running onto it. Again, that Western Bulldog connection. West, that was well played. Then on his wrong side, kicks to Everett. Good effort there by Wellman. Hocking was terrific pushing forward. Gee, Tyson Edwards a bit indiscriminate. Lucky he didn't collect anything. Then pushes the ball out. Rogers, Harvey to put the pressure on. And it'll be a boundary throw in. Let's run around. Terry Wheeler, do you get a sniff that's closing a bit here?
Yes, I do, Bruce. They've really tightened it up the South Australian side, but as you said, they're just looking for that breakthrough half forward. Rashudo involved in the last one. He's a key player now for mine. Pickett, I should say.
Camporelli, oh, he's got him in trouble, pushes it out, taken by Leoncelli, back to Lappin, Pickett onto him, back to Leoncelli, couldn't quite, Hocking, fantastic play to Campbell, to the goal square, Lloyd, couldn't quite, everything's important here, Harvey's kick 4, clever, very clever, wonderful footy to Lloyd. That makes it hard. 3 to Lloyd. Well, the Rover may be a dying species in Australian footy. We're seeing a good one today.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Bruce. Harvey, just the general awareness in real estate, knowing that he had some ground to work in, backed himself to get free of Tyson Edwards, but to let the ball run onto his teammate in Lloyd, who was unopposed in the goal square. That's terrific vision, terrific awareness by young Harvey. He certainly has been a very good player in the context of today's game.
Back in the middle, 89 plays at 57. Rogers over the top. And they'll do it all again. Very dark day if you've just joined us here in Melbourne. Pittman working hard. trying his heart out. Burke and Co lock it up. Bradley comes in over the top. Josh Franco at the bottom. 2 goals to Franco, both coming in the first term. He was very quickly out of the blocks. Does it again. Now the big kick down towards full forward by Rashido over the top and just touched through for one behind.
Yes, Andy, Wheels mentioned that one player that could possibly get him back into this contest is Mark Rashido. He's been picked up by Brett Ratten at this stage. Ratten has been a terrific, probably what you'd call a quiet achiever today. He's had 16 possessions. He's taken 3 marks. More importantly, he's had 4 tackles. He's got 6 clearances from those stoppages, and he's won the footy in the hard contest on 4 occasions.
Everett off for Allen. That was a clever tap on by Justin Lepich. Hand pass is okay by Campbell to West. West kicks down towards left half forward. An interesting hand pass by Lloyd to Brent Harvey as Darryl Wakelin and Nigel Smart look on, both carrying injuries. Let's hope they're not too severe. Pittman again. Hocking edged out of it. Viney used his strength. Kicks towards half-back. No mark taken, but Viney follows it down. Well played by the Demon veteran as he kicks to half-forward. That's better. He's found Peter Burgoyne. Still a long way from home, Burgoyne. Players streaming downfield. And he comes across the ground. The kick had to be almost perfect for Scott Camberelli on that occasion. It wasn't. He's got a couple of other players screaming for it, but all to no avail.
Sandy, Peter Burgoyne had the right idea then, but again, you can't kick off 1 step. If he's going to hit that target, he has to take 2 or 3 steps, getting momentum into the ball.
Also, don't underestimate the defensive skills of Nathan Burke. He's a grand player. Allen tries a little poke over the top. The Lepich kick is partly smothered. They get another crack at it over the head of Viney and Leoncelli. The 2 Melbourne boys together. Leoncelli supreme on this occasion. Gives the hand pass away to Johnson. Johnson looks down towards half forward. Towards Lloyd and Co once again. It's still outside 50. He pokes it in there now, does Matthew Lloyd. That was well played. Trying to get free and bending it round his body is Peter Riccardi. Into full forward. Cleverly done by Riccardi. Pressure on Wellman. Gets a hurried kick to the outer side. Pickett will lead in the race. Bradley is there with him. Pickett leaves it for Bradley. And he steadies. He's cool as he comes through half-back and looks down towards centre wing. Big pack of players, but no one able to take it cleanly. King waiting for it. It won't come out. And finally, Matty Allen got a hand to it. Couldn't take it. Spooned out eventually towards McRae. He's been quiet after getting a pretty encouraging start. Gets the kick down to half-forward. Holland tries to poke it out. The hand pass over the top was interesting by Burgoyne. Scott Camberelli in towards goal, but he skids it across the face of goal and through for another behind.
Sandy, a big loss for South Australia has been Nigel Smart, that run off the half-back line, because at the other end, the Vics are getting that huge run from King and Koutafidis and Rowan Smith. So Smart is a huge loss.
King's kick to centre half-back, puts Ratten under the gun here. South Australia close on him, ball comes free. Rashido's handball, Burgoyne never had great control but was good enough. Left foot back, but Victoria have got the numbers and Rowan Smith's got it in the back pocket. Gives it to David King. 2 great players today, as they so often are. A wonderful kick to Johnson to Burke. Good build up here by the Big V. Burke to Allen. This is a clean passage of footy. One end of the ground to the other. Johnson running for him. He'll be comfortable taking Pittman on. Kicks towards full forward. Lloyd pushed into the contest. Taken by Harvey, and he's found a man. Well, luck's a fortune, but you make it your own. And Riccardi in front has got it. And I think that sniff that I had 10 minutes ago has just gone away a bit. The breeze has blown it out of the Melbourne cricket ground towards the South Australian border.
Yeah, Brett Harvey, what a terrific player he's been. He's already got his 3rd opponent for the day. Andrew McKay's actually gone to him now after Byron Pickett started on him, and also Tyson Edwards.
Riccardi to kick the goal. Isn't that typical of the way the Kangaroos play? The way Harvey did then. Bang, crash, get it forward. Riccardi, he might have missed. Oh, perhaps I can smell something wafting through the breeze still, Sandy. But it's a good lead, isn't it? The Big V still very much in control.
James also off for South Australia there. Looks like he caught one in the nose. He's bleeding quite heavily, so the doctors are looking at that. Looks like he's broken his nose, actually.
Boy. Just pop it back in place on this cool day. Here he is again. I reckon they could just about start printing a name on the E.J. Whitten medal, although that kick would disappoint him. It was meant for Hocking. It's found Mackay. It came from Harvey. Towards Mead. Has to beat a couple. And does pretty well, Darren Mead. Kick is only a short distance. They get into the back of Wayne Campbell, and he's going to get a free kick.
Probably a bit lucky to get that one. Campbell actually dived over the ball, so he caused or contributed to the push in the back. So that's normally not rewarded.
Campbell to half forward. Plenty of South Australians there. Mackay got plenty of it. Ratton spooned it forward. Going to be intercepted by Josh Franco. Back to Mackay. Good smother on that ball though by Riccardi. It finishes with Hart. He flicks it round the body. Allen comes charging towards it. Now the big man has it, but he's in real trouble. He gets gazupped. Viney shows strength. Straight to Lepic, however. He's got to beat a couple. Ridden into the ground again. And it's Camporelli who gives away the free kick. Lepic to take it between centre wing and left half forward. 31 points is the margin. That was the deficit at half-time. So they have made no impression on the scoreboard, despite having the aid of a slight breeze. Very difficult, though, with a wet, slippery ball. Franco controlled it well, comes out the back door, goes towards Holland. Well down, he's on the half-back line at the moment. He's almost held, but he persists. Then he gets claimed. That was good persistence on both parties' part. King's kick, straight up and down, marked by Bradley. Didn't appear to go very far, but he's got it on half-back.
Davis Warts on, Chris Grant off.
Bradley just didn't time it very well with the heavy ball into the heart of the centre square. On the bottom, Camporelli. Ricciuto, handball to McRae. This might be good. McRae on his wrong side. It's going to be close. Off the ground, Daffy, a goal! A goal!
Nick Daffy's been cooling his heels for some considerable time on the bench, but when you come on and produce something like that, it's got to have an effect on the team. Mead gives it away to Pickett. He's across half-back for South Australia. Another one now that could make it interesting. It will certainly lift them. Johnson on the outer side could have been held. Bradley's under the pump. He could have been shoved. Rogers is there to assist. The ironical cheers go up, but then Rogers goes and puts it straight out of bounds.
And the reason it doesn't go back and the free kick re-awarded to Bradley, Sandy, is because the effective disposal was given, but unfortunately the skills just weren't up to it.
Johnson kicks down towards Schwartz. He's a bullocking type, isn't he? He can bust up a pack. But watch out, because Byron Pickett's there too.
So, Sandy, if I can just explain. So had he been under pressure from an opponent and the ball gone out of bounds, then the kick would have come back to Bradley. The fact there was no opponent there putting him under pressure meant that he pays for his mistake.
David Schwartz, 1 of 10 in the Victorian side, playing his first state game, has given away a free kick. Pittman plays on straight away and he hands it off to Mead, who looks up towards centre wing. Lepic steadies. The hand pass is okay. The Victorians have the numbers to get out of trouble here. Allen flicks it across the ground. Wide towards the wing. Now there'll be a little race and charge here. Going to be interesting. Riccardi's very, very clever. And eventually he sockers it away. But he's gained probably 25 metres. Good duel with Tyson Edwards.
Sandy, Brett James came off before with a blood nose. He's had his nose put back into place. So he's looking quite handsome again.
Throw in between centre wing and half forward. Schwartz and Pittman, the two big men to contest. Bradley was one at the back, Hocking there also. Leoncelli is at the bottom of the pack with Craig Bradley. A couple of minutes remaining in this third quarter. Back to a 25-point margin. If South Australia can get another one here, they certainly give themselves a chance in the last quarter. Leoncelli shoved in the back.
Not much doubt about that one, and we see Josh Franco saying lots and lots about disagreeing with that decision, but no doubt at all.
In towards half forward. Big thrust now for Victoria. Rogers waits down, but he's quick to apply the tackle on Harvey. King gets taken out of it. Burgoyne working hard. Hand pass, not quite far enough. Thompson might make him pay. Kicks it in towards full forward. Pickett's between Campbell and Lappin. And Byron Pickett takes the timely mark. He steadies it down and he goes to the outer side. South Australia has the numbers. Maybe they can start something here. Camporelli takes the hand pass down towards Bourgoin on left half forward. He looks up towards the 50. Holland comes charging out and there's a crunch. Two players clashing. Leppich was one, I think, but they picked themselves up. Both okay, and we've got a throw in, and we've also got a word or two from Graham Corns in the coach's box.
Geez, those midfielders are working hard. I can't give them a break, really, can I? Bradley, Viney, Rashudo.
The only thing you can do is maybe bring Daffy up onto the ball.
Some interesting stuff there. South Australia in attack late in the third quarter. They've whittled the margin down by 6 points from the half-time 31. Koutafidis has been terrific around the body. Holland's had a pretty good third quarter. Was looking for a free kick, didn't get it. Campbell's been terrific. Talk about the E.J. Witten, Sandy. Campbell's going to be high on everybody's list. He's not only got plenty of it, but he's done the job on Camporelli early and late. He's been outstanding.
Yeah, very valid point, Bruce. He certainly had the job on Scotty Camporelli for most of the day. He's certainly done that. He's comprised of 22 possessions, whereas Camporelli's only got the ball 11 occasions.
Rashudo couldn't get it, Cocking good, and then finds some space and touches it on the ground at centre wing. Uses Johnson. Hart ran him down. Back to Rogers. Things just not going Victoria's way for the moment. Rogers back towards half forward, and King and Burgoyne boundary throw in. Johnson, gee, a good run by Hart. Terrific chase, which says a lot about the attitude of both teams at the moment. They're not willing to throw this away, that's for sure. Leoncelli with fresh legs to Campbell. Campbell hard and high, half-forward flank. Edwards versus Riccardi off the ground, right in front of Terry Wheeler. As the siren sounds for three-quarter time, it's still a contest. It's 13-12 Victoria, 10-5 South Australia. So South Australia whittling away that lead by 6 points. And Cornsy's got a bit to work with at three-quarter time. There's still a bit of hope there. And on a day like today, that's the one thing you wanted going in to the three-quarter time break. At three-quarter time, Victoria leads. It's 13-12, 90 to 10-5, 65. Welcome back to the MCG three-quarter time here. And on the first occasion, South Australia's actually outscored Victoria in a term today. The first was even, and that was a good quarter for South Australia, 3-3 to 2-3, and the margin is back to 25 points. Well, Mickey, you said at halftime you thought the Big V was home. Still?
Yeah, I still do think so. No doubt the South Australian team showed a tremendous amount of spirit in that quarter, ably led by Craig Bradley and also Mark Rashudo in the midfield. They were two players that certainly lifted. They need lifts from Camporelli, also Nick Daffy, if they happen to play in that midfield part of the ground.
Probably just needed one more goal, didn't they, Mick, to really fire them up. But let's go down to Dipper, because I think he's got one of our selectors, the Victorian selectors, with him in the great Bobby Skilton. Dipper.
Yeah, the great Bobby Skilton with me. Bobby, a great commitment by the players today, but this game's not over yet.
No, there's a long way to go yet. To their credit, they kept it right up to us then. They created the loose man, and our little fellas didn't quite get down to the centre as well as they did in the first half.
Yeah, at the start of the week, we're looking for somebody to hit the packs, and Brett Harvey's just done a fantastic job today.
He's been sensational, hasn't he? He's done exactly the job that he was picked for. He's kicked 4 goals, given another one away to Matty Lloyd in the goal square. Brett Harvey's been sensational.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Dipper, with Bob Skilton. There is Brent Harvey. As I said, it's a sort of day when the Big V plays South Australia that legends are made, and this little fella today is made such an impact. Graham Corns, who himself was amongst South Australia's best players in those early State of Origin games and has been such a successful coach. But he's facing a deficit, 13-12 to 10-5. Might do a run around quickly. Terry Wheeler, any chance South Australia?
Well, you were right early, Bruce. I thought halfway through that third quarter, they really gave themselves a chance, but there was a lot of work for a minimal return. Only made 6 points up during that quarter. I think that will break their back. They'll have a 5-minute burst here, but Victoria seemingly have enough in store now.
Terry Wheeler there. Last quarter about to start. State of Origin footy. It's the last of the State of Origin matches in the 20th century. They've been going for 20 years, State of Origin. 100 years have been going, Victoria versus South Australia, and South Australia's only won on 5 occasions at the MCG in 36 contests, so the odds were always with the Big V today. But could South Australia pull off a miracle win here. They came back hard in the third quarter, and two players that had an impact get the footy straight away. Rashudo to his captain, Bradley, who kicks to fall forward, belted away at the back by Big Spider, almost into the pocket. And King, well, it's out on the fall. It's the lucky break that SA might have needed, and Treadray, who's hardly touched it all day, has a chance from the pocket. Can't remember Warren actually having a kick. This would be a big goal. We've seen some miracle goals today. Not this one. Pushed across the face. Ball comes to ground. Through for a behind. What about you, Paul Couch? You're at half forward at the moment. Any chance South Australia?
No chance South Australia. Bruce, I'm a Victorian through and through, but just the quality of the game, getting wet, slippery ball. Look, the skill level has been sensational, and the smarts in tight have been very, very good also. Just thinking through tight situations of all players has been great.
Good on you, Couch. You just say what you mean too.
Rowan Smith in very short. Liancelli to Leppich. Leppich from half-back, kicks the ball to centre wing. Viney, he lifted in the second half of that third quarter. Little kick down the line is good. This is a loose man that Skilt's talked about. Rogers has got it. Rogers at centre wing. I haven't forgotten you, Peter McKenna or Richard Osborne. We'll get to you shortly. Belted away by Leppich. Bouncing ball taken by Ratton. Ratton quickly onto his boot. Lappin playing in front and then puts up a high ball. Lloyd getting underneath it. He's in the box seat. And Wellman at the back. Harvey and Edwards. Harvey couldn't quite control it. McKay gets in. Riccardi. Lloyd can't get a handball away. Gang tackled in the end. It sits. Wellman away. Little kick over the top. The Roos got it at half back.
Mark Rashudo. Lappin giving chase, but Rashudo's got time and should be able to pinpoint Pittman in front of Spider Everett. Plays on straight away to skipper Bradley, who looks to half forward, but again, no one at home. Rowan Smith takes the mark. Pops it over the top to David King. Had a wonderful start, picked up an enormous number of possessions, 20 kicks, a couple of hand passes. And a throw in on the outer side. Peter McKenna, we haven't forgotten you, Pete. What are your thoughts at this stage?
Well, I think Bradley, Rashudo and Viney, Sandy, are getting plenty of the ball, but I just think it's too much of a margin under these conditions with that good Victorian back line.
And Aussie?
I think at this stage, the South Australians they're going to have too much scoreboard pressure on them. Any momentum that they're building, the Vics will kill with one quick goal.
Yeah, and they're in danger here because Chris Grant's got it between centre wing and half forward. No one on the mark. He could have gone much closer if he wanted to. Mead is one of the flyers pushed down in front. McKay is there defending. Hocking also. And I think would almost slipped, and in so doing went over the top of McKay, gave away the free kick.
Exactly as you called it, Sandy. Woodder actually trying to pull out of contact, but just couldn't avoid it.
So he gives it to Pickett, and Byron Pickett's away. Kicks towards centre wing. There's some pressure on Holland here. He had to beat three. Huge ask. Campbell has been very, very effective. Down to right half forward. Harvey and Pickett, the two kangaroos. Harvey, 55 metres out. He's booted four already. Given one away. Centering kick in towards half forward. McKay does the roving work and defends well. Going to the outer side, away from Brett Ratton to force another throw in.
Sandy, keep up the date with the benches. Silvani, Morrison, Allen, Crode, Swartz and Leckers for Victoria. And for South Australia, we've got Smart, Robram, James, Darcy, Clark and Wakeland.
Thank you, Debba. Pittman and Grant contesting again. Pittman pushing down in front. Lappin has worked very hard today. Gets it to half forward. Pickett is the stumbling block underneath that pack. And eventually umpire John Harvey comes in and decides that he'll have a ball up.
Sandy, I think it's very noticeable throughout the course of this game that they've really struggled across half forward as a South Australian team. Their three key players in Holland, Robin and Treadray have only accumulated 7 possessions between them. Just not enough from key forwards in that part of the ground.
Hart kicks down towards right half forward. Scotty West under the pump, but he manages to give it away. The centering kick's okay. Look out because Grant and Harvey are lurking. Chris Grant picks it up now, but he's slung to the ground by Mark Rashudo, and there'll be another ball up.
25 metres from Victoria's goal. It's been good, Chris Grant. He looks like Superman, and at times he plays just like him. The kick by Ben Hart. Franco was a hard ball to mark. Smith was good, pushing forward. Liancelli scooped it back towards Campbell, who's been outstanding. Hooks it back. Pittman and Everett, an important ball here. Comes to ground. Harvey's been absolutely brilliant. This would top off a sensational match. He's done it. He's done it in more ways than one.
"11 kicks and 5 goals. Percentage football from Brent Harvey of the Kangaroos, representing Victoria for the first time. What a thrill for him. It's on half forward for Victoria at the moment. There's been a free kick picked out, and it's going to go the way of Darren Mead.
Yeah, paid against Chris Grant for a push in the back, Sandy.
Mead had his number taken earlier on in the day. So some anxious times for him ahead. Koutafidis couldn't get a handle on it. Campbell at the back got the call from Burke and did well. Campbell's been very good. Kicks up towards Scotty West. He lost it for a second. Now it's with Leoncelli. Beautifully done towards Johnson. Another prolific possession winner. Johnson comes inboard to Hocking. Another one away to West. He's under the pump, but he gets his kick into half forward. 50 metres out. McKay and Harvey both are there. Here he is again. Little Red Harvey. Lloyd gave him the hand pass. This for number 6. Yes! Gee.
What about his speed, Sandy?
Oh.
Just to actually get around.
What's Cornsey think of this little bloke who's ripping them apart?
Well, he's won it for him, isn't he? Just about. He's always going to. He was always going to be the one to come up.
5 goals straight from 11 kicks, 3 handballs.
Well, that sums it up, doesn't it? When the opposing coach says that's the man who was going to do it, and my word, he certainly has. Pittman and Everett. Ratton comes storming through, comes wide to Johnson. You can just about put it down now if he kicks this. One behind.
Just a feature of Harvey's game today, Sandy. It's amazing players become creatures of habits, and no doubt because of the Kangaroos' predictability in the way they play, that's certainly held him in good stead today. There's no doubt Walls would have demanded of Harvey to be the designated crumbing forward at the foot of the talls. He certainly has done that for the majority of the day, and you have a look through his 5 goals kicked, most of them have been from crumbing options.
Ben Hart gets it outside 50. Wellman and Lloyd together. Pittman going to the ground. Viney, no free kick, then tries to scoop it in. I reckon a day like today, if you could pick one bloke around Australia to play for, it would be Peter Bell, the Western Australian. And Harvey's done the job that Bell might have been able to do, you know, if WA were playing today. It's been a great performance.
Oh, certainly, Bruce. You know, he has really stood tall for his inches today.
And goes back to the Kangaroos, an even better player next week, doesn't he? Burgoyne, with him Harvey, he will win the EJ, surely. Scoots, I think, said it all at three-quarter time with Dipper. 98-66 here. Boundary throw-in. Good play here, good defensive play. Not only has he been offensively brilliant. So on this very dark day now, Victoria in control against South Australia. Camporelli, little one forward, marked by McRae in front of Burke. Burke's been able to hold McRae up most of the day after those early goals. McRae penetrating to full forward. Lepich, Holland gave him a push. Lepich will get a free kick. Just a little shove, I think, from Nick. Not much in it, but it was there. Smith presents himself wide from Lepich. He's got it at half-back, sits and props, goes down the line to Johnson. And those Bulldogs can hold their head high. Johnson at half-back. Kicks the ball to centre wing. Grant front spot, Lappin, Grant again, good hands, Leoncelli, neat kick to half forward, well done at the back by Wellman. Lloyd, good contest, Lloyd will want a free kick here, Pickett's got it. God, you'd pay money to see this bloke any time, wouldn't you, the way he plays the game. Good kick inboard to Ben Hart. Now, he had 3 blokes running past, but Smith held him up, and then Hart has to kick low and not very attractively. And the mark taken by King, it might have been touched off the boot. Another contest. West kept his eye on it. Terrific hands, but held up by the South Australians. Everett under the pump, gets the handball away to centre wing. Taken by Lappin. Back to West. West around the corner. Symbolic of the way he plays the footy, playing the percentages. The ball rolling towards the line. Handball on the up, but it's out of play. 98, plays 66.
Trek tried about to come on for his first run for Victoria.
Now, I caught him earlier, actually, Tipper, and it was Leckers getting that kick, but Croder's going to get a run. The only teenager out there today.
32 points the margin. It was 25 at three-quarter time.
It's like at the end of a Grand National steeplechase, Sandy. They are going up and down in the one spot, aren't they?
Well, they've got to be exhausted, but I still think this young man he'll be very, very excited. His first State of Origin game, and he's going to get a run. Lappin and Johnson run out of room on the other side.
Sandy, as the game's gone on, it's just become more and more evident that the midfield of Victoria have certainly taken control. They've got 11 players who've accumulated 10 kicks or more, whereas South Australia have only had 4. Entries into their forward 50 has been 61 to Victoria and only 26 to South Australia.
Tells the story. 61 to 26.
Bruce, you made the point about the conditions, the boys running up and down the spot, and that really does add more weight to Brent Harvey's performance today. Some of the things he's done would have been amazing in dry weather, but in the conditions, absolutely superb.
Yeah, you're right there, Aussie. Good comment as Scott West gets it down towards Grant again. The Bulldog boys combining, but only for a moment. Back it comes to David King. He takes on a couple and he pushes it out wide towards Spider Everett and West. West, clever little tap on to Burke. That was very good. Look at King. Continue to go. But he runs out of room on that outer side.
And hasn't he been a fine contributor right from the word go? He's had 25 possessions, 21 of those being kicks from that rebounding part of the ground. No doubt David King is certainly a quality player.
Crode gets his chance. He is onto the ground. And Peter Riccardi is having a spell. Here's Harvey and McKay and Coa again on that outer side. Bit of a stalemate there at the moment. So Crode on, Riccardi off. To the South Australian coach's box once again, and Graham Corns.
And Silvani and Swartz haven't seen much of the action, have they?
No, they've seen hardly any. Das is right. What's Das had? 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'll give David Pittman a rest, I reckon.
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Here's Chris Grant, still a long way out, but he spears the pass in towards Lloyd. That's sensational play.
Yes, Andy, and that's certainly a kick that gives the defender no chance. Jason Dunstall, Tony Lockett, Gary Ablett, they'd certainly tell you they're the type of passes forwards love leading into.
Peter McKenna, you love that. I can hear Barry Price's name ringing in your ears, Peter McKenna.
Yes, and Wellman was with him and put in 100% effort, Sandy, and the pass was just too good, as Mick said, and Matthew Lloyd, well, he got it easy, lace up.
So Lloyd directly in front. The rain has cleared. He's kicking from 48 metres. It's not an overly pretty punt. It hasn't quite made the distance. Still in play. Pickett concedes a behind.
Just interesting watching that contest. It was Harvey who actually dropped his knees, hoping that McKay had actually tackled him a little bit high. Both players very smart in their approach. Hardy trying to get the free kick off McKay, but McKay very disciplined in his tackling, went for the hips and didn't give away the free kick to Harvey.
Bradley to himself, then takes Hocking on. And then Crode coming in. Bradley gets it to the centre. Wellman and Rowan Smith. Ball to be won. Good handball on the up there. And Camperelli kicking the ball forward. That handball coming from Rogers at half forward. Lepage, Treadray with him. Burgoyne and Koutafidis. Burgoyne forced to go to the boundary line. Lloyd and Treadray have been interesting too. Treadray's had very few opportunities, but Lloyd's been able to manage 3 goals as the key forward. Treadray's really struggled to get into the game, hasn't he?
Yeah, certainly. As we spoke about earlier, Bruce, the 3 tools for South Australia have struggled. Robert hasn't even touched the ball. Treadray's only had 2 kicks. Holland's had 4 kicks and 1 handball, but at the other end, Lloyd and Chris Grant, they've certainly attacked the game. They've tried to find front position, and it's just been the midfield supply that's gave them forwards, as against the South Australia forwards, opportunities.
Well, speak of Treadray, he's got it after Darcy belts it forward. So here's his chance. This young superstar from Port Adelaide. Read it best. Just Lepage going the wrong way for once today. And Treadray's taken the mark. Everett coming from the ground. I think that coach's box for South Australia is a very proud one. And the one thing they want out of the last 10 minutes is for South Australia to hang in. The last time these 2 states will play one another this century. And Treadray, he snuck it home, I think. No, missed it. Well, that's a bad miss, really. I mean, love to have kicked one in the MCG in this game, but he's just missed. King short to Lepage. So we're back to that 32-point margin. We've said that a few times today. Johnson to Schwartz. So they're all starting to get a run. Schwartz's kick is a good one. Lappin, still Lappin. Good kick to the front of the square. Bouncing ball through from behind. 14-16 to 10-7. Here's Graham Corns again.
It would have been interesting on a dry day.
We were set up for a dry day.
Their centre square dominance has been incredible.
Yeah.
Or their bounce down dominance.
Graham Corns chatting there with Neil Curley in the coach's box. McKay not attempting to mark that, just trying to make a few metres by belting it out the back to accommodate Rogers, and he does that. Up towards right half forward, but it's too wide and it's out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, that's just sloppy disposal, especially when it's an unforced error. From this type of quality player, Matthew Rogers certainly wouldn't be too happy with his execution on that occasion.
Leppich goes short and finds Harvey. Brett Harvey spearing one into Campbell in the middle. Beautiful kick. The Tiger runner. Dual best and fairest at punt road. Kicks up towards half forward. Pickett couldn't take it cleanly. Wellman had it and almost dropped it. Here's a chance for King maybe, who's going past. Johnson's in there. Gets a little toe poke. Back to David King. He snaps at goal. But he doesn't get his wish. One behind.
It was interesting watching when that ball was coming forward. Young Trent Crode, no doubt he's been itching all day to get a run. He was the real spring heel, Jack. He ran up the ground, across the ground to provide a target. Unfortunately, he just couldn't take that mark. And then when the ball came to ground level, he didn't know whether to go at the loose ball at ground level because his teammate and Johnson had first access.
Hart tumbling a punt. McKay couldn't take it. Rogers gives him support. Up towards centre wing. Peter Burgoyne marks, floats it over for Holland. Still a long way from home. He goes back to Burgoyne. Puts them up towards the 50. Holland keeps it in play. He needs Daffy there for support. Daffy's been on and off the bench. And that ball goes out of bounds on the full. 101 plays 67. The rain is back. But Victoria is going to win this game.
Official attendance 26,063. Half forward for South Australia. Is that Rashudo on the bottom getting a free kick?
Yes. So
the Roo from inside centre. He's at half forward right. Still a long way from goal. 14-17 to 10-7. Goes to half forward to Holland. It's a long way from home on a day like today. Holland gets it around the body, and Treadray again has got the mark. Playing in front, so this will be a lot tougher than the previous shot. He's kicked a couple of behinds today. Nick Holland, a better second half. Hawk Horak will be happy with that. Clever kick, actually, in the end. Bringing her back in, and Treadray, a good diving mark. So Warren Treadray, who's not the most reliable kick in the competition, but boy, can he play. A kick from about 35 metres, a very tight angle. Not a good kick. Chance at the front. Good play there by King, who's been wonderful. To Harvey, a couple of kangaroos. To Smith. Smith at half-back, touches it a second time. And then little pop over the top is terrific. To Leoncelli, to Schwartz, a couple of demons together. To Johnson. Johnson goes hard and high to fall forward. Lloyd was being held onto, I thought. Wellman with him. Lloyd goes to ground. Ball in the pocket. Crow gets, did he get a foot to it?
Yeah,
it is, and it'll be a kick.
Actually, exactly as you called it, Bruce, Matthew Lloyd was being held, but I think it was on the umpire's blind side and just wouldn't have been able to see. He would have been guessing had he reacted to that.
And Crowe's going to... I thought it was Crowe that kicked it out.
Yeah, it looked like the South Australian player actually got first.
Well, that's
access on the ball. No,
the boundary umpire definitely. The boundary umpire's first signal was to signal that ball out of bounds on the full.
Now, John Russo, I'm here. I'm in front of the boundary umpire. It was a South Australian player who kicked the ball out.
Yep.
The umpire was about 15 metres away from that.
Well, Dippy certainly did signal out on the full. But anyway, Campbell's got it. Now there's a free kick, and it's going to Victoria. It was to Hocking for a high tackle. So Buddha, the captain, with a chance to kick a late goal here. He's had plenty of it, Hocking. He kicked a goal in the opening term after a free kick in the centre when Riccardi, the Meade-Riccardi incident. And Hocking has had a good match. Started very effectively, set the trend, and it would love to kick his second goal late in the game. Victoria just too good. They've been on top throughout. And Buddha speared it through.
Hocking joins Harvey and Lloyd as the multiple goal kickers for Victoria, and they go surging forward again. penetrating hand pass finds Johnson. Gets it down towards right half forward. Here's Andrew Leoncelli. First one way, then the other. Proppy hand passes, put pressure on his teammates, and they might lose it. They will. Ben Hart will tidy up. Crode couldn't take it. So Hart goes short to Camporelli, who chips to Rashudo between half-back and centre. Just a couple of minutes remaining. Well, 5 minutes left. Victoria's well and truly home. Lights have been on since, well, quarter time on this dark day in Melbourne. Rogers kicks to left half forward. Silvani spent a lot of time on the bench. He's near the action now. David King, who's been very, very effective.
Sandy, you talk about E.J. Whitten medalist. Brad Johnson's had a great game also. He'd have to go very close.
He has been very, very busy. In fact, I can tell you he's had 21 kicks, 8 hand passes and 3 marks, Couchy. Very, very good. James gives it off to Franco. McKay marks between centre and half forward. 26,000 plus brave souls today making their way to the MCG. Leppich, an effective spoiler, is good. Down to Scotty West. Kicks up towards centre wing and finds Chris Grant. He gives it away quickly to Harvey. Brent Harvey picks up another possession with a worm burner of a pass to Matthew Lloyd. Lloyd keeps it going. He gives it back to Grant. Almost like a training drill. He finds Lappin 50 metres out. Buddha comes across and says, steady it down.
Even though the footy's wet, Bruce, he's a prodigious kick for goal. He'll probably get back and wind himself up. That's when Nigel Lappin kicks the ball very long and very direct at goal. I wouldn't be surprised. No, he's not going to have a shot.
That always happens when you say that, Mick. Don't worry. Scotty West gives a little ground here. Burke gives even more. And Schwartz has it in the middle. Now out of the mud. Kicks down towards right half forward. That was almost superbly trapped by Lloyd. Then he was run inside out. He's going to get a free kick.
That was clever.
It was very clever, wasn't it? He just made sure he didn't take possession of the footy and trying to extract the free kick, and punches the ball away and then held a little afterwards. So rewarded with a free kick for holding the man.
Let's have one of the great full forwards of all time call this through. Peter McKenna.
Thanks, Sandy. It was funny. Wellman looked up at the video on the big scoreboard to check whether that was a free kick or not, then glared at the umpire. But this has got a great shot at this one. Matthew Lloyd right on the boundary, the right side of the ground for left-footed too, Sandy. And he's not a bad kick. Nice and deliberate coming in. Oh, straight off the side of the boot. Slippery ball.
Perfect pass.
Right spot, right time.
Nigel Lappin kicked a goal in the first quarter. He should not miss. Just 20 metres out and almost directly in front.
Yeah, front of the pack. Good courage there by Lappin. Flat hands, dropped the ball into the path of his chest. He knew where the footy was going to drop. He should convert from this range.
Lappin kicks his second.
Dippers with Simon Madden, the Victorian coach's box. Dipper. Dip, can you hear me? Well, there he is.
Yeah, thanks very much with Simon Madden's in the coach's box here. Simon, the game's not over yet, but a great commitment by the Victorian players today.
Oh, look, you couldn't ask any more from them. I mean, in these conditions, it's been, you know, the real hard football conditions, and the way the whole team's put themselves to the task has been fantastic. And, I mean, the coach has been tremendous. Just the whole group of people put together has worked out really well, and the fellas have finished off with a commitment on the ground, as you can see. It's been fantastic.
Back to you, boys.
Thanks, Dipper. McKay in the back pocket. He's done pretty well, Andrew McKay, since coming on. Kicks to Rogers. Good mark. It's paid. So Victoria again supreme at the end of the century, as they so often have been during it. The kick by Rogers straight to Lekas. Lekas was going to go on. He's a bit disorientated, actually. Gets to Hocking. Hocking sort of half throws it forward. Lappin again spilling out to Franco. He misses his target. It's very difficult there now. Schwartz is a bit fresher than some of the others. Ratton underneath it. They've been great, those type of players for Victoria. And a ball up. Just for the record, in State of Origin footy, Victoria now 10 wins and South Australia 7, which is a pretty good reflection of just how even it's been in the last 20 years. Burke kicks to centre half forward. belted away by McKay. This would be great if Silvani could kick a goal. It's not going to be one. It's right there. Wellman and Lloyd, good contest. Wellman scoops it through. But overall, the Big V have now won 83 out of the 114 contests between the two. They've had a couple of great periods of domination. They won every match between 66 and 82, and they won 23 of the 27 matches between 37 and 60. So, symbolically, at the end of the century, it's probably the result that we've seen so often. Victoria reigning supreme against a gallant, but in the end, overwhelmed South Australia. Burke gets it from Hocking, and Hocking into Harvey, who has had a match to remember. 114 to 67. And if there was one move that was made early in the game that turned it a bit, it was Brent Harvey coming on the ground and immediately kicking a goal.
Yeah, certainly, Bruce. And how fitting would this be if he actually finished the game kicking this goal? This would be 6th. Has not kicked a point at this stage. 5 goals straight from 14 kicks. In terms of efficiency, you can't get much better than that from a crumbing forward point of view. And as you suggested, Robbie Walls brought Harvey on early in this first quarter, kicked the second goal for Victoria.
He's got under it. It's just missing. It's a behind. Harvey with 5 goals. He had 1 touched on the line, and that one just to the side. Kicked a goal in every quarter. A couple in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. It is a lopsided scoreboard, 16-19 to 10-7. Smart and Wakeland being injured certainly didn't help the Crow Eaters. Hart, oh, that's cut off. Johnson's got it. Inside the last minute. So the Malcolm Blight Cup will go to Victoria today. What a match this fellow's had. What a great player he is, just 22 years of age. Johnson goes for goal and puts it through. Well, I know Couchy was kicking him up a minute ago, and he's going to be stiff-knocked to get the EJ, and who knows, he might get it, but, well, Harvey, Johnson, take your pick, but Brent Harvey may be for us in the commentary box.
Yeah, certainly Harvey for mine, Bruce, up here. He's certainly been the difference between the two sides. 5 goals from a forward pocket, sensational statistics. He's taken 9 marks as a small-type player, which is exceptional. But Johnson, his game for Victoria today has simply been outstanding. On centre wing, he's ran up and down the ground all day, accumulated 30 possessions, and he's been outstanding.
So the margin stretching out now to 54 points in the last minute of the last clash between Victoria and South Australia this century. The kick by Pickett to Burgoyne. Back to Rogers. Rogers kicks the ball to about half forward. Treadray front spot. Well done, Silvani. Very well done. And that's it. There is no more. Robert Walls, a great performance. Dippers with him.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Well, Robert, congratulations. A great performance by the Vicks today.
Yeah, they were terrific, Dip. From the word go, I thought that they just showed that they wanted to win, and we had the numbers. Oh, look, I don't want to individualise because so many of them were so good. It was just a terrific team effort. They enjoyed the week and they played for each other. They shared the whole lot. I thought Buddha was fantastic as captain, Berkey as vice-captain. You know, our senior boys, we only had really half a dozen of them. Chris Grant, Steve Silvani. They were just great, and to see a little bloke like Harvey come on and kick 5 goals in his first game, and Trent Crode get a touch of it. Nigel Lappin was good right through. Ratton and West in the midfield, Spider and Matty Allen in the ruck. Very, very good.
Thanks for joining us, and congratulations. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Tipper. With Robert Walls, there's no doubt if you look for the best players, they're almost all from Victoria today. It was a huge win in the end by 54 points. It's a big last quarter by Victoria. They kept South Australia goalless and actually more than doubled their margin. In the end, they won 17-19 to 10-7.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
Time to go down to Craig Willis for the presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that we invite Stephen Williams to present the medal named in honour of his father, former South Australian champion and Hall of Fame member Foss Williams, to the player adjudged best of field today for South Australia, and the winner of the Foss Williams medal is Andrew McKay. I now have much pleasure in inviting Ted Whitton to present the medal named in honour of his father, former Footscray champion and Hall of Fame legend, the great E.J. Whitton, to the player adjudged best of ground for Victoria. The winner of the E.J. Whitton medal is Brent Harvey. Congratulations, Brent. And now would you welcome to the MCG one of the game's greats, a Magarey medalist, a Brownlow medalist, Hall of Fame member, Malcolm Blight, to present the cup named is in his honour to the captain of Victoria, Gary Hocking, and the coach, Robert Walls.
Yeah, commiserations to South Australia. They certainly gave us a great contest. The conditions were certainly rough and tough, but congratulations also to the Vic boys. We all come together with only a week, but they played absolutely superb today, and thank you, the people, for coming out and supporting Victorian football and the Victorian state team. Thanks very much.
Gary, thank you. Congratulations to the Big B. Commiserations to South Australia. And Gary, I'd invite you to take the boys on a lap of honour here of the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Get a photo first, boys. Get a photo.
So, terrific victory. No surprise with Brent Harvey. Maybe Andrew McKay certainly played his heart out, but Mickey, I think it's probably indicative of the gap between the two teams at the end. The Victoria probably had 9 of the best 10 players out there today.
Oh, yeah, certainly, Bruce. Not an indictment on Andrew McKay. He certainly tried hard all day. But if you had asked him to be in the best Victorian 6 or 7, I don't think Andrew McKay would be in that.
So, a terrific effort by Victoria. A wonderful performance. South Australia gave it a red-hot go. Until three-quarter time, they were still competitive, but in the end, they were overwhelmed. Undermanned and overwhelmed.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And the Vics really worked hard through the midfield. You look at the likes of Ratton and West and Johnson, Smith and King. They were the catalysts early in the game across half-back, and also Harvey up forward. He was terrific. Grant also, and Lloyd.
Probably just didn't get enough out of Camper early and Daffy in that midfield area in terms of goals. McRae got caught up. Bradley tried his heart out. 15 State of Origin appearances to equal John Platten.
Unbelievable effort. Yeah. 35 years of age, looking up at the grandstand, knowing this will be the last time you'll represent his state.
Well, we've seen many of the greats of the game out there today, and it's been a terrific week, and a fair bit of nostalgia in the build-up to the match with the Hall of Fame last night. So, a wonderful performance. As I said earlier, there's Gerard Healy, who himself was an outstanding state player, with Robert Walls, the premiership coach at Carlton in 1987. And it's been a very satisfying day for them. They put so much into this, as do the South Australians. But I'm a South Australian, but I've got to say, at the end of the day, it's probably symbolic of the way most of the matches have gone for the last 100 years. Victoria have clearly been the dominant state, and they proved it again today.
Well, I'm a Vic, Bruce, and I'll say no doubt about that. Well, the Vics have certainly been in outstanding touch, and it was great to see this group of players bond together and actually go out. The new millennium's about to confront us, and to be in that last winning Victorian side, they'll certainly treasure that memory.
Saw Wayne Campbell there a moment ago. He, like Brad Johnson, were probably closest to Brent Harvey at the end of the day. So the Vics set it up really. When Harvey came on the ground, they got a good lead at half-time, a 31-point lead. That was whittled away to 25, but in the end they won cosily by 54 points. Next week's match is round 10, and there are some beauties, Mickey, starting with Adelaide and Essendon.
Yeah, must-win situation for Adelaide. Melbourne should beat Fremantle. I can't wait to get down to Shell Stadium to see Geelong and St Kilda. Richmond and Hawthorn, very important game for both clubs. Brisbane Lions and Western Bulldogs, what a game at the Gabba.
Plugger in Sydney against Collingwood. West Coast Carlton should be a good one. And it's all round a terrific weekend. Thank you, Mick, for your time today. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. We will see you next weekend for AFL Footy. Good afternoon.
This has been a 7 Sports production.